I've been eating Halloween candy like it's going out of style for the past couple of weeks.
Right.
And on Sunday, the wife was out shopping, and she says, "Do you need anything?" I said, "I really would like some potato chips and dip. That's what sounds good." And I took down the whole bag of Ruffles and most of the dip, and I got on the scale Monday morning, and I saw a number I've never seen before.
Wow.
That scared me a little bit. I've immediately gone into withdrawal. I'm not calling it a shape-up, David. I've just gone into withdrawal. I don't even like Ruffles, and I had the whole bag.
Fortunately, your wife, wants a very slow, low-key holiday season, so you're not hosting any parties or anything.
Right. Thanksgiving at the house, and then we've got, just a small gathering.
113 people.
Literally talking about getting a water slide.
Yes. You said that yesterday.
And I don't think here's the funny part, David. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Well, I love the fact that you have 15 pounds of protein, and I don't think it's enough. Do you?
No. Only thing that gets the saving grace is it's a 1 to 6 type party, so it's not really a lunch or dinner. You got to have food, but you're not really giving them a meal time. You're not interrupting them. You're not telling them you're serving dinner, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but you'll know the people who didn't eat lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Because they'll walk in the door and... Morning, baby Jules.
If I might ask, what is the Greg Gard connection here?
The tournament that's coming here, the college basketball tournament that's coming over Thanksgiving.
Okay, that makes much more sense. I saw that and I was excited for it.
I may get the Tennessee women's coach too.
Oh, so we can help promote the tournament that they didn't spend any money that they promised me they would spend with us.
Well, I didn't know that till yesterday when you made that comment.
I told you a while ago. Actually, after that meeting, I said, "Yeah,
well,
but money out of it."
But I didn't know. First off, they have never spent money with us, so that But then, when you said that they spent money, now do we know that they spent money, or did they?
Yeah, I've heard their ads on both. I've heard their ads on both other stations. I've heard the ads on the Fox station and on this station, nonstop. Well, I'm pissed.
Yeah,
we'll do the interviews. That's great. This is why I hate selling, because it puts me in a spot where I'm sending Jeff Melke a nasty email today.
Yeah.
Going, I'm going to sit on this council. You told me we were going to get these people in touch with me. I need some help, man.
I will say, I think a lot of people don't understand the split.
That's why I explained it.
Yeah.
Explained it exactly to him.
Some people are also idiots.
Wow. You're gonna blend in with this show just fine.
What can't you fix?
Stupid. It's good for you to know that at an early age, by the way. That will benefit you greatly going through life. Most of us have to get into our 40s before we realize that.
Well, the problem with my generation is we say we know things and then we completely act a different way. So,
yeah, that's
right. I'm not calling myself stupid. I'm just calling myself young. I'm part of this stupid generation.
Our parents' generation began the downfall, and Mark and I's generation took care of it.
And I had no water pressure. Our whole neighborhood's water pressure was like gone this morning. Really an enjoyable shower.
So it just dripped onto you?
Basically.
Was it at least warm?
At first it wasn't, so we had to go turn the water heater off and back on to get the hot water to work.
See? And once again, turn it off, turn it on.
Back on again.
Unplug the damn thing. That's my aunt. Great aunt. Lived in the sticks.
Good morning, AJC, Albar, fam.
All right, here we go.
All right, let's do this. Whew.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And fired up to get over the hump together. Hope your week is going well, but we just want to ask anyway, how the heck are you? You know, it was doing okay there, and then it cracked.
It was.
I'm feeling better though.
And I was worried when you let that rip because we talked about it before the show. Your voice was a little off, and it started. I'm like, look at that.
Right.
He's got it.
And I had it, and then I lost it.
And then Sean McDonough popped in.
It's kind of like a round of golf. You know, the tee shot was terrific, and I just put the 5-iron in the hazard. So, top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. How are you on this hump day?
Good morning. I'm doing well, David. Ready to get over the hump. Ready. You know, I'm starting to get excited for Thanksgiving.
Whoa!
One of the great eating days of the year, and I'm starting to look forward to Thanksgiving. Plus, it's a day off for us. We don't get days off during the week very often, so I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving.
Well, I mean, it's like you said, it's one of the great eating days. I mean, how could it not be a favorite holiday of Miller and Moulton? I mean, I'm the eater, you're the cooker, but as you get older, you're becoming more the eater.
And when you cook, you eat, David. A lot of sampling that goes on, a lot of tasting.
I got to take your word on it. Okay. Never been around people who cooked. All right. Have never cooked.
So that's what I want to get to, because we're having a small Thanksgiving. It was going to be bigger, and then some family can't make it. So we're like 7-8 people, not a very big Thanksgiving.
Right. We're doing 13, by the way. We didn't invite a soul.
Who's cooking?
Well,
I mean, are you catering Thanksgiving? Because you guys don't cook. So to host Thanksgiving is, to me, odd. To host 13 people is bat blank crazy.
Well, to host 13 people is, I mean, I'm expecting like the FBI to show up and half the people to be taken away. I mean, why is it that we're hosting this meal? I mean, are some of you going to prison? Is this part of a scam? Are you in the witness protection program? Are you trying to evade the authorities? What's going on? Mark, even people who don't cook, like me, what is the one thing that I've always said that I do and I like to do, and I do pretty well, and I probably do it once a year?
You like to grill.
I'm good with meat.
Right, but this is Thanksgiving. You don't grill a bird. You put the bird in the oven.
Right.
You
my
bake
wife,
turkey.
well, but the same analogy applies to my wife. My wife cooks 4 things, but believe it or not, she's pretty good with a turkey. And she likes it, strangely. And the funny thing is that forever, I was never a part of Thanksgiving. I did local TV forever. I always worked Thanksgiving. And then when I was fortunate enough to land the CBS gig, for a while, we had a lot of Black Friday games. We did both games a few times. So I was always traveling on Thanksgiving. But apparently, my wife does a pretty good bird. And
well, when that thing pops out, it's done. That's the one good thing about a turkey. It is
right.
It is difficult now to screw up, but when you don't cook, there's more to it than just a turkey. There's the side. I mean,
well, here we go. This is the key part of the equation. We're having to trust others with the sides.
Okay, so it's a community meal. You guys are doing the bird and the stuffing, I assume, and they're coming with everything else.
Right, and then apparently the daughter and son-in-law, and the son-in-law, you would like the son-in-law. Not that I don't, but I said that because he cooks and he likes to cook and he's pretty good at it. So you two would get along great. So they're like, we'll do the sides. Okay. Now, my first reaction is, no, I'll buy them. Thanks. Okay. But, the wife elbows you, and then you go, okay. So that's the plan, Mark. All right. The wife doing the bird, and daughter and son-in-law providing the sides.
And you don't have an escape vehicle until Friday. So you're there for the duration. It's not like you can get up mid-meal and say, hey, sorry, enjoy the cleanup. I got to catch a flight. I'm going to Seattle. I'm going to El Paso. You've got nothing.
And I even asked. And at the time, I didn't know that he was like a week away from becoming the new chairman of CBS Sports. But the number 2 guy at CBS Sports is David Burson. And he was at the Michigan game that we did. And I hit him up. I'm like, hey, Black Friday, that Iowa-Nebraska game. Who's doing that? He's like, I think it's so-and-so and so-and-so. Why? Oh, okay. He goes, you sound like a guy who wants to work it. I go, well, anything not to spend Thanksgiving with my family. Yes. I go, it's a noon game, too. I got to travel really early. So, no, I can't even say I'm heading to Nebraska. Nope. So that's the 13 people, once again, none of whom were invited. And, right, wife with the bird, daughter and son-in-law with the sides.
It's a lot of people. You're going to need a big bird.
Had to buy an extra table and chairs, right? Oh, yeah.
Oh, now you've got a seating arrangement. Someone's going to be at the, basically the auxiliary table, much like you and I for the national championship game. We're put at the auxiliary press box.
Correct.
It's not the prime seat. The dining room's the prime seat.
Right.
We're moving people to an auxiliary table.
So there's permanent seating for 10. It's 11 adults, 2 children. So one adult is either going to have to sit solo in the living room, okay, or stand, and kind of eat off the kitchen counter. So you know who that's going to be, right?
It's either you or your wife.
Oh, it's me. There's no doubt it's me. Okay. Like, I really want to be with all these people. I mean, seriously?
All right. Let's ask a real question here, though, David. You have determined you're going to get the auxiliary table because you want the auxiliary table.
No, not the auxiliary table. I'm the one not getting a seat. There will be permanent seating for 10 adults. We will have.
And this has already been determined?
Well, I live here.
I understand that, but I think your wife will take the non-seat because she's going to be up doing things.
Oh, no.
Want you at the head of the table for Thanksgiving.
No, hostess with the mostess. We want everybody happy, make sure everybody's sitting together. And then, no, I could stand outside for all she care. Stand on the lanai while you're doing it. Enjoy the view. No. So, yeah. And here's the good thing. Guess who gets to pay?
Well, you do.
Right. This is fantastic. It's a hell of an idea.
Only thing that would have been better is if you could have paid and not been there at all, David.
Totally. And once again, still trying to get Iowa, Nebraska. Okay. Problem is Iowa may have already have the West clinched. I was hoping that game was going to mean something. If Iowa wins this week, don't they win the West? Because the West
for the final time.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I will say, wouldn't it be something? Michigan or Ohio State. Either one. Ohio State having to go to Notre Dame, having to go to Michigan. Okay. Everybody questioning they're not tough. All right. And Ohio State puts a 12-0 on the board. And they show up. Is it in Indy again? Okay. And they show up in Indianapolis and Buckeye Nation represents, and we're going to win the Natty. Or it's Michigan. This is
America's team.
America's team. Everybody's out to get us. We're the victims. Us against the world. And they invade Indianapolis. Go Blue. You can hear the song already playing. There'll be video chants on the flights. Oh, yeah. And wouldn't it be something if, Iowa wins the Big Ten championship 9-6, 3-2, 6-5, something like that. I mean, wouldn't it just be
11-8? Yes,
exactly.
I'm with you.
9-8, which was a score we had momentarily Monday night. That something like that. Wouldn't that be appropriate? Offensive coordinator's already been fired.
The entire nation will be rooting for Iowa in that game.
I know that never before will the nation enjoy Iowa football as much as if that's on the verge of happening. People will be taking to Twitter going, man, it's good to see a defensive slugfest every now and then. Haven't seen one of these since Alabama LSU 12 years ago. Blah, blah, blah. Because, of course, the likely outcome is, 37-3. But, man,
right, the same thing Penn State did to them earlier this year.
Exactly.
That's what will happen.
Right.
But we can root.
Yep. So, yeah. So I'm glad you're getting excited about Thanksgiving. That's good. That's nice. It's cute. That's fun. But then again, you actually you like people more than I do. You entertain more than I do. You have more friends than I do.
Not by a whole lot. I mean, it's close, David. I think the jury's out on that, but the wife has friends.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course. I mean,
Thanksgiving's just family. There's no friends there. This is a family affair.
Well, I didn't realize we had that many people in the family, but apparently we do.
Yours is growing.
I didn't know that. But I mean,
maybe we'll do a live Twitch show from Thanksgiving from our respective kitchens just to see how things are going.
We are doing a Black Friday show, though, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
There you go. There you go. It'll be live from Kinnick Stadium. No. Well, damn.
One can hope.
Yeah, one can only hope. So Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Good show lined up. No. We mean it. David Bearman. Haven't talked to him in a while from Pro Football Network. He's going to join us. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott in our grade 8 hour. You know how we roll. So there you go.
Between now and then, we'll pull you in for a Draymond Green headlock or a Thanksgiving hug. We're not sure what it's going to be.
Wow. That happened early.
That escalated quickly, David.
Yes.
They like to say.
Neither team had scored when that happened. It was 0-0.
Well, wasn't it like 2 minutes into the game?
Yes.
Was it really 0-0?
It was 0-0.
Now, see, this stuff happens in hockey. Carry over from the last game. But, man, actually, I have to admit, kind of the NBA you and I grew up with.
It's the exact NBA you and I grew up with.
I'm going to say.
Not much we can complain about Draymond Green throwing a headlock on somebody at 0-0.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd roll out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd. With over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry. They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. You are right, Chris. It was more of a chokehold. My apologies.
So the conspiracy theory is that because Steph wasn't playing, Draymond just didn't want to play. He just went and got ejected. Except I think that's ridiculous because you'd think Draymond would be able to tell Steve Kerr when he doesn't want to play in this era, this day and age.
Did you watch your Pistons last night at all and see how bad? I didn't see the court.
Yeah.
How bad did the court look?
The Pistons court is not that. Are you talking? Was it
the tournament game? So they all had
Yes.
the stupid court.
Theirs is not bad, honestly, because it's gray, so it's not like a
Right.
flashy, obnoxious color. I do like their tournament jerseys though. The bad boys, like, they got skull and crossbones down the side.
Gotcha.
It's pretty cool. They got a little Chuck Daly patch on there.
Yeah, I'm with you, Coffin Ball.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows what's going on, nor does anyone care. But essentially, it's group stage play, and it's just regular season games that you'd be playing anyways. They're just counting them towards group stage play, and then the actual tournament with quote-unquote elimination games that are also just games you would play in your regular schedule is later in the season. I'm just excited to see what the presentation is like for whoever wins this. It's going to be ridiculous.
Oh. So go Raiders. He's frying the turkey because that's what his mother-in-law wants. KW's doing, it sounds like turducken, which I got to admit, I had never had until like 06 or 07. And we were on the road. Forget if it was Louisiana or Arkansas, but I think it was both. Back-to-back years. Did LSU Arkansas the day after Thanksgiving. And both times had turducken. Oh, man, was it good. Les Miles showed up at our Thanksgiving dinner the night before the game in 07.
Remember Zito, obviously. For those of you that lived in this market, he worked here forever. Zito does a tenderloin every year at Thanksgiving. He hates turkey, thinks it's the most overrated meal of the year. Why do we only do it once? He makes a tenderloin at Thanksgiving.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Rye-Roll, I wanted to go to Honey Baked. I wanted to get a ham and a turkey. Go to Publix, get the mashed potatoes, get the gravy, get the green beans.
God almighty.
Yep. I just
go to McDonald's.
I just want to take out the charge card. That's all. Boom. Here you go. Because this way, then nobody's going to screw anything up. Yeah, it's potentially not as good as it could be, but it's not going to be awful. And I'm just trying to get through. But nope. Gonna have to put our faith in others. A rib roast. Huh. 21 people coughing about. Damn. I don't think I've ever been outside of a work Thanksgiving. I don't think I've ever been at a.
My Thanksgivings growing up were like that.
Really?
My mom and dad both have 5 on each. They're one of 5.
So you guys hosted? Or
No,
you would go to
we'd go to my grandmother's.
Gotcha.
We used to rent out a church because we had like same deal. Like my grandma is one of 5, my grandpa's one of 4.
How
So
many
you
people
just-
would you have?
Like 50.
Wow.
And in a I mean, we'd be in like the fellowship hall of the church, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. But we'd have the Lions on, and a bunch of people, bunch of kids. Just all right, here we go. By the way, sorry.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Bearman of profootballnetwork.com will join us in a little more than an hour. Well, listen, we got Bud Elliott coming on in a little over 2 hours, and he just thinks the college football playoff committee is a complete and utter sham. But they actually did something yesterday. Now, I mean, I still think they could have done it via email and Zoom, but apparently, they got to do 3 nights in Dallas and spend thousands and put it on somebody's charge card. I'm not sure who. I don't know if Fox and ESPN split this or just ESPN because they're in charge of the playoff. I don't know. Do the conferences divvy this up equally? Who knows? Does the SEC tip significantly bigger than the Big 12? I don't know how it works. But anyway, new number 1.
Yeah, there we go.
So Georgia beating back-to-back top 15 teams. They said, you know what? We're going to reward you for that. Huh. Okay. And so right now, Georgia would play Florida State in a semifinal, and Michigan and Ohio State would play each other again. Now, we all know that's not going to happen because they're going to play each other a week from Saturday. And although I do think there's a chance, not a good one, but I do think there's a chance that they both can make the playoff. Better chance, Mark, Michigan and Ohio State making the playoff or Georgia and Alabama making the playoff?
Michigan and Ohio State. I think that. Oh, no. Look, I just think it's the brands. I think it's a television show, David. I'm not going to try to put any, real talk into it and that. But Georgia, their best win will be Missouri if that's the case.
Right.
Which they did manage to put Missouri at 9th as the best 2-loss team ahead of Louisville. Little things to pay attention to. This is the committee's way of justifying what they're going to do at the end.
Well, they are propping up the SEC because, Bud Elliott sent out a video yesterday in which he said, let's go through the best non-conference wins for the SEC this year. And he has the best non-conference win for the SEC is Missouri beating Kansas State. Ole Miss beating Tulane, albeit with Tulane's backup quarterback. And then he kind of goes through. But it makes the compelling argument that, wow, they haven't beaten anybody outside of their own conference. Then again, do they have to? Georgia and Oklahoma didn't play each other this year as previously scheduled. Game got scrapped.
And I'll recant my statement. Michigan, Ohio State, they have a better chance of the Big Ten if Michigan beats Ohio State. If Ohio State beats Michigan, I don't know how you can look at Michigan's schedule and give them a chance to come into the tournament.
So last second kick, Wolverines beat the Buckeyes 19-17. You think there's still a shot?
I think there's still a shot. Let me ask you this question. We have 5 undefeated. We know we'll only have 4 because Michigan and Ohio State play each other.
Mm-hmm.
How many undefeateds will we have when the conference championship weekend has finished?
Yeah, that's a great question. I could answer that with a question. Right now, if you had my $20, which team do you think you're more confident in that will finish 13-0? Georgia or
Florida State.
Mhm.
That was out of the 5. I thought you were going to say which of the 5. Florida State. Because
So
Washington has to beat Oregon again and get through their last games, which is no picnic.
correct.
Georgia's never won against Alabama in the SEC championship.
Nope, they have not.
And we already have discussed that Michigan and Ohio State play one another. So if you were to ask me which teams, if there's only one undefeated, I would vote for Florida State.
There's very rarely, if ever, 3 undefeateds. So if I had to wager over under 2.5, we have 5 undefeateds at this day and time. We know we're not going to get more than 4. Over under 2.5, I would go under. That's what history tells us.
I would as well.
First off, Ohio State, Michigan, one will be eliminated. And you and I both think Washington's not posting 13-0. So there's 2. So that would leave at most 3 undefeateds. A Big Ten champion, Georgia, Florida State, at most. But I'll go under. And don't have, and
I hope it's over.
Well, I was going to say, if it's under, that means Florida State has lost as a double-digit favorite to somebody, or Bama's beaten Georgia.
And if Bama beats Georgia and Texas runs the table, oh boy.
Listen, I'm apparently the only person that I've talked to in the last 4 weeks. I'm the only person that believes that you have to put Texas in over Alabama. Everyone else says, come on, they played week 2. They're a different team now. Milroe could barely play then. Now look at them. All right. If they played right now, who would you pick? Okay.
I don't care.
They
played. What the hell is the point of playing if it doesn't matter?
But then, they go say, okay, let's take a look at their resumes.
Right. Texas beat Alabama.
Right. Well, and then they say, by the way, that's not the first tiebreaker. They bring up all these other things. And I'm like, well, to me it is.
And then the only tiebreaker.
I'm totally with you, Mark. But here's also what I am hearing from everyone else. They're not tied. And I go, wait, hold on. So one would be a 12-1 conference champion and the other would be a 12-1 conference champion. And they go, yeah, the one conference is significantly better than the other. And they would say, take a look at who Alabama had to beat to post their 12-1 versus who Texas had to beat to post their 12-1. And of course, I can't get it out of my mouth fast enough that, well, one of the teams they beat for their 12-1 was Alabama. By the way, at Alabama, by 2 scores. But I'm telling you, Mark, we may be the only people in North America outside of Texas that believe if Alabama wins out, that they could still lose out to Texas. Everyone else thinks that. Look at what Alabama, and also take a look at the playoff committee and, where's Tennessee in the top 20, LSU in the top 15, Ole Miss in the top 15, Georgia number 1. Okay, and they could go, well, Alabama beat all those. Who Texas beat? And in theory, we have them beating Oklahoma in the championship game. But actually, I believe now the Big 12 is clarified. If Oklahoma State wins out, Oklahoma State's going to be in the title game because they will have beaten both K-State and Oklahoma. And believe it or not, up until they clarified it, there was actually a way that those teams could finish tied, and Oklahoma State, having beaten both, would still not have gone to the championship game. How absurd would that have been? And Oklahoma State is ranked, but they're ranked at the very bottom of the top 25 after getting just routed by UCF. And Alabama's got 3-4 wins better than what Texas, in theory, will have.
But they played one another.
Correct.
It's a wonderful.
I know. Hey,
explanation, David, you did a great job. It was thorough. I appreciated how detailed you got with it. But Texas beat Alabama.
Mark, apparently that's not as important as you and I think it is. Apparently it's not the most important thing. And apparently it's not even the second most important thing.
The starting five. That's the next most important thing on Miller and Moulton.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd roll out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd. With over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry. They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Could not be more with you guys on the Alabama-Texas thing. Because what's the point of a non-conference? Like,
Really,
why...
Johnny? I did not know that. Thank you.
Whole duck.
Yeah, I'm going to smoke a duck for Thanksgiving. I'm doing a turkey and a duck.
Not a bad idea. What? And I guess it's a little different because this is the last year of a 4-team. But what the hell is the incentive then for teams to schedule in the non-conference, right? If you're basically saying it doesn't matter, like you went to Alabama and won, that's about as marquee of a non-conference win as you can get.
It's the best win of the year.
Yeah, yep. Has to be.
It's the best win of the year.
And because it happened in week 2, or was it week 2?
Yeah.
Or week 3, since there's a week 0,
2.
whatever.
Week
It's
2.
just like, what does that say about
Yep. And
what message does that send?
And when I brought that up to people, they basically said, well, what would Texas's resume be without that win? We wouldn't even be talking about them without it. That's the incentive for a school like Texas to schedule that game.
Right.
That
And they
they
won.
have no right, but that if otherwise, look at how hollow they're. Let's pick a non-conference game, run of the mill non-conference game. They beat
Nebraska.
Memphis.
Yeah,
They beat Memphis, or even like Mark says, a Power 5 team, but a middle of the road one. Now take a look at Texas as 12-1. Would you even consider them for the playoff? And so that's their response. Their response is,
Yeah. I understand.
I'm totally listen. I think it's for. I mean, I've gotten heated with some people about it. I think it's bat blank ridiculous.
Yeah.
The games need to count a lot. What is more important than a head-to-head? I come to Mark's place and beat Mark, and we end up, okay, as far as I'm concerned, tied
And they want to make the case for Mark.
And they want Mark to go instead of me? Whoa.
I know. I just think it doesn't make any sense.
You want to pick somebody besides Mark. You want to pick Trent. Okay. But you ain't picking Mark.
Yeah.
No. I ain't losing.
Georgia needs to beat Alabama.
Yeah. Well, because also, now imagine Alabama runs the table. Okay. Wait until you start to hear the arguments that Georgia should be in. Haven't lost a regular season game in 3 years. 2-time defending national champions. Okay. Oh, wait. That put them compare them to the other 12-1s. Washington, Oregon, Texas. Who do you think's the better team? Oh, I'm telling you. Okay. How do you split that tie? You really going to put Oregon behind all those teams? So Oregon's going to drop, or Georgia's going to drop from 1 to 7 because they lost to the 8th ranked team in the country on a neutral field?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you wait. It's why I actually think there's a better chance of, if a conference is going to get 2, it's going to be you-know-who.
If you're a Texas fan, you just want chaos. Right?
You need a lot.
That's what I mean. And I don't think it should.
Because I don't know if you get in over Oregon. If Oregon beats Washington, I don't know if Texas gets in over that.
Right, because they put Oregon as the first one-loss team, correct?
Well, and have for 3 straight polls.
So they're not going to back off that.
Well, right, because Oregon's schedule the rest of the way is harder than Texas's.
Correct.
So how do you leapfrog Texas over Oregon?
Yeah.
But they can leapfrog Alabama over both of them if they win out. If they win out.
Don't you think this is where an 8-team playoff just solves a lot of these problems?
Well, 12 this year would be great. But the problem is after this year, you have 2 conferences.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, think of the teams that would make the 12-team playoff this year. Both Oregon and Washington would make it. Well, they're both Big Ten teams.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington? Okay, that's 4.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Bearman, Pro Football Network, and profootballnetwork.com will join us 1 hour from now. A reason to follow us on twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. The 3 of us, Miller, Moulton, and Trent, we just continued the college football debate right on through that commercial break. And you get to chime in the Twitch chat room. And also going on in the Twitch chat room right now, a lovely discussion about what we're having for Thanksgiving and who we're having it with. And it is a lovely discussion. I was not being a sarcastic blankety blank.
You sure sounded like one.
No, it is a lovely discussion. I am learning quite a lot. I enjoy this. How many people we're having over at certain parts of our life. Why, like the one guy is like, listen, we just got the pool redone. We're doing a big thing. Everybody's coming to us. I'm showing off the whole deal. Apparently, the one guy, he left it up to his wife. He said, your call. We can go over here and 24 people and or just the 2 of us. And she said, how about just the 2 of us? So it's just the 2 of them.
Lovely.
Exactly.
Did find out where I can get duck because I'm thinking about smoking a duck.
Right.
Talking turkey brines during the commercial break during the Twitch chat room. Oh, yeah, there was a lot going on during this show.
There is. We are fixing the college football playoff system, and we're making sure that Thanksgiving is just lovely. Now, however, back to the grind. Time for
The Starting 5. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Remember yesterday morning when I was in Buffalo And I gave the quick weather update. Mark's broadcasting from the 239 where it's 73 degrees. And in Buffalo this morning, it's 43, but it's really 143 because, boy, is everybody hot. They are spitting mad about the Bills. Well, I think McDermott there might be feeling some of the heat because, he fired offense coordinator Ken Dorsey yesterday, which is remarkable because I could have sworn that it was the head coach who called the all-out blitz on third down that led to the pass interference. And I could have sworn it's the head coach who ultimately is responsible for the fact that they couldn't get the right number of guys on the field for the field goal block when he had called 2 timeouts leading up to it, and we all knew it was going to be a fire drill for the final field goal. But apparently Ken Dorsey had to pay because it's his fault that Cook couldn't hold on to the ball, and Josh Allen is suddenly colorblind and is throwing it to the other team.
Well, yeah, and that Gabe Davis dropped a ball that was right in his hands for another interception. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of blame to go on those turnovers, David, but
it's Ken Dorsey's fault, damn it.
Ultimately, it's Dorsey.
Right, and Joe Brady is getting promoted. Do you remember Joe Brady? Joe Brady in 2019, he was not officially the offensive coordinator, but he essentially was because he was the passing game coordinator, and I'm doing that in quotes, air quotes, passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach for the 2019 LSU Tigers. Remember them? Yeah, he was the hot assistant coach. Won the Broyles Award in college, went to the NFL, 2 years in Carolina, got fired. Now he's been the quarterbacks coach for the last year and a half in Buffalo. He's going to be the offensive coordinator for the rest of the season. Robert Saleh is holding people responsible for the Jets falling apart here. Yeah, he cut third-string tailback Michael Carter. Yeah, I'm in charge here, damn it. Yeah. No, I'm not benching the quarterback who just can't suck enough. No, I'm not doing that. No. No, I'm not going and grabbing a couple offensive linemen off their couches who have to be better than the guys we have in the building. I'm cutting the third-string running back because he committed a penalty on Sunday. And I know what you're saying. Half the team commits a penalty on Sundays. Yeah, but I'm cutting him, setting an example. Also, the Jets had a players-only meeting on their day off. Tuesdays, days off in the NFL. Nobody comes into the building on Tuesdays. Apparently, everybody came into the building yesterday in Florham Park, New Jersey, and the Jets had a players-only meeting. Okay. All right. Mark, this just in the last 2 weeks, the Jets have scored 18 points, and they've committed 17 penalties. Michael Carter had to pay the price. Raiders claim former Patriots cornerback Jack Jones off waivers. Texans lose linebacker Denzel Perryman for 3 games because he's cheap shotting everybody. And they finally have had enough. So 3 games for repeated personal fouls. Cowboys linebacker Leighton Vander Esch may never play football again. He's got a neck injury. Jerry Jones in his weekly radio appearance. God, I love that. I mean, he's an idiot as a general manager, but don't you love the fact that he does a weekly radio appearance?
Yes.
Like a half hour, too. I mean, it's awesome. There's no other general managers that do a weekly half hour on their affiliate. I got to give him that, right? He said that there's a decent chance that Vander Esch never plays again because of that neck injury. And Browns running back Nick Chubb had a second surgery. He had so much damage to that knee that they repaired everything else but the ACL first time around. Now they repaired the ACL. Excuse me. College Football Playoff Committee, new number 1, Georgia. Yeah. Finally matching up with the polls. Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State, your top 4. The 5 through 8 remain the same. Washington, Oregon, Texas, Alabama. Missouri up to 9. Louisville to 10. That helps Florida State because that's who they're going to play in the ACC title game. Tulane is the last conference to get the automatic bid. Tulane 24. if you will. If we had a 12-team playoff, who would get it? It would be Tulane.
But I don't. They're not high enough right now to get the New Year's Day 6 Bowl. They've kept them right at 24 and haven't given them any love of giving them any opportunity to make a New Year's 6 Bowl this year because they've been locked in that spot for several weeks.
But Mark, you could argue the most significant thing that happened in college football yesterday was a judge's ruling in Washington. He ruled that Washington State and Oregon State now control the Pac-12. They control the board. All the other members of the conference can't vote on anything. So they control media rights. They control revenue. They control marketing, you name it. So if the Pac whatever continues, Washington State and Oregon State will essentially be co-commissioners of the conference, but they may also be able to now legally withhold a couple $100 million worth of revenue to the other 10 schools and keep it all for themselves. So when they end up in the Mountain West, they each may end up in the Mountain West with $100 million in their bank accounts.
Someone didn't read the fine print when they dissolved this conference, because this is crazy. But the last two members standing seem to have complete control of the Pac whatever.
Well, and what Washington State and Oregon State argued is that, hold on a second, when USC and UCLA left, you all voted them out. They're no longer part of the board. When Colorado left, you said, okay, well, then you can't vote on anything anymore. And you don't get some of the money that you think you're entitled to. So when the rest of you got up and left, why do you all now suddenly think that you're entitled to anything? That was Washington State and Oregon State's argument. They, of course, all, have bounded together, and they're suing, and they've all but said it out loud. Okay, if we win, we're going to disband the conference. We're going to totally do away with it. You will not be able to recreate the Pac whatever. It's gone. College football last night, Mark, Toledo, they were down 28-10 at the half. They threw a 59-yard touchdown with under 2 minutes to go to beat Bowling Green 32-31. Toledo is 10-1 on the season.
Yeah, but that's not a cover.
No, it is not. No. Northern Illinois won and covered against Western Michigan 24-0. Eastern Michigan won but did not cover 2 overtimes to beat Akron 30-27. College hoops last night. Top 20 matchup. Duke beat Michigan State by 9. Kansas beat Kentucky by 5. Terrific game, 89-84. Kansas down 7 at the half. Top 25 matchup. Marquette beat Illinois 71-64. And 10th ranked FAU, a winner. Mark, they played before their biggest crowd ever. 31-61 at home. That's right.
31-61 at home. Their biggest crowd ever.
It was like 20 more than they had for a game last year. Correct. Jacksonville beat Georgia Southern, and the Gators beat FAMU by 21. Women's action, FGCU beat FIU by 33, and Stetson lost to High Point by 5. NBA, it was a close game going to the fourth, and then Brooklyn outscored the Magic by 18 and won by 20. Meanwhile, the Miami Heat have won 6 in a row after the 1-4 start. Jimmy Buckets with 32. Heat beat the Hornets 111-105. So Minnesota played Golden State, second time in 3 days. And apparently they didn't like one another on Sunday. So when they showed up at the arena on Tuesday, some scores needed to be settled. And so 3 ejections in the first 2 minutes of the game, including Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. And Steph already was sitting out because of swelling in a knee. And yet Golden State still nearly beat Minnesota. They lost 104-101. What Draymond do again? A headlock?
It was more of a chokehold. I mean, he's going to get suspended. He
came up from behind.
He went from the baseline on a full sprint and basically put a chokehold on Gobert and then dragged him a good 15, 20 feet.
It was so unnecessary. Like, so
He's going to get suspended.
So bizarre.
I'll tell you what, though, it is Rudy Gobert, who apparently nobody likes. That's the only thing. I'm sure you're right, but I mean, apparently
it's
nobody
Draymond
likes
Green.
Rudy Gobert.
Draymond doesn't like anybody, so there's that too.
Well, that's true. Hey, Jokic, a normal night at the office, 32 points, 16 rebounds, 9 assists. And the Clippers lost 6 in a row, 5 of them with Harden, 111-108. They lost to Denver. Lightning have lost 3 in a row, and they've been shut out in their last 2. St. Louis beat them 5-0. Panthers, meanwhile, have won 5 in a row. They beat San Jose 5-3. You know, this Crosby kid, he's really starting to get annoying. He looks like he could be pretty good. He had a hat trick and a helper. He has 10 goals on the season. He's on pace to score 58 this year, which is pretty good because that's almost how old he is.
Right.
5-3 Pittsburgh over Columbus. And the Bruins, you know, once again, they've played 15 games now in the regular season. You know how many in regulation they've lost? 1. They're 12-1-2. They beat Buffalo 5-2. Baseball, Marlins manager Skip Schumacher won Manager of the Year. Do you know who hired him? Kim Ang. Do you know who hired him over the objections of everyone else in the organization? Kim Ang. Do you know who's out of a job?
Kim Ang.
Huh? Brandon Hyde of the Orioles also won Manager of the Year. Goodness knows, well deserved. Ohtani and the 6 others who were given qualifying offers, they all turned it down. I mean, why pay for $20.3 million when you can play for $55 million? And Padres owner Peter Seidler died at the age of 63. The team will remain in the Seidler family, but he was the one who, took their payroll and, has made them a thing out there.
Relevant.
Yeah. And they sold out every game last year. And one other sports note, Mark, which I think will interest you more than most. Rory McIlroy resigned from the PGA Tour Policy Board yesterday. Basically just said, yeah, I don't have time for this.
Well, he's got his other golf league he's starting. He's got a lot going on. He's got to complain about the Live Tour. I mean, he's got 3 or 4 full-time activities that would keep him from that.
Well, basically, like you said, I don't have time for this anymore. But, Rahm pulled out of Tiger and Rory's league. Rory's pulling off the PGA Tour Policy Board. I don't know. The
merger's nowhere close to happening.
Nowhere close to happening. No. It's mid-November. They've agreed on nothing. Right. Mm-hmm. Nothing to see here, though. Nothing going on. Everything's fine. At 7 minutes before the hour. That was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I will say, though, Charlie Woods, Tiger's son, he was playing in a tournament a week or so ago, and Tiger was caddying. And Tiger looked great, apparently, walking around the course. Like no limp. Just saying. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd roll out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd. With over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry. They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you see John Harbaugh's comments on his brother for hearing?
No.
What a great guy he is, what a family man he is, and how proud he is of him. I mean, having to deal with this. His kids are proud of him. Everybody's proud of him.
It hasn't been easy, and
it's just not been easy.
He's representing our family.
All right.
This is what the Harbaughs are all about. And oh boy,
no proof on anything, and he didn't do anything.
Actually, I just have one simple question, Your Honor. If he truly didn't know, how?
Yeah.
Is anybody not concerned about that? You want to say Harbaugh's innocent. Okay. He's innocent. He didn't know.
That's a bad look.
How could this happen and the head coach not know about it? No, seriously. He didn't suspect anything? He had these beautiful pictures, glossied, of the signs. He didn't suspect anything? I mean, I want to know. Nobody suspected anything. Apparently the whole conference knew, but the Michigan coaching staff didn't. Okay. All right. So let me get this straight. Greg Schiano at Rutgers knew what Michigan's assistant coach was doing, but Jim Harbaugh didn't. Okay. Okay.
I'm his brother. I have a lot of opinions on it. Obviously, I'm his brother, and I'm proud as heck of him. I'm really impressed with the way he's handled himself through all this. I mean, it's been a long run. All this stuff has been looked at, and he's come through this thing with flying colors. I don't know what they're trying to get, but they don't have anything of substance, and I just think I'm proud of him. I think it's a real compliment to our family and to him, something for us to be proud of, because as kids can see this, you get kind of in this kind of a situation where you come fire for whatever reasons, and you come out in a really good place doing the right thing all the time.
Cheeseburgers. It's just the only thing they got on them is cheeseburgers. That's it. Nothing. They don't have anything of substance. Can we define substance? John, I just have one question. Is cheating substance? John, I'll tell you what, can I ask one follow-up question? Do you think it's possible for a member of your staff to be cheating and for you not to know about it? I'll hang up and listen.
Here we go.
Okay.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Hope your week is going well. Let's get over it together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Bearman of ProFootballNetwork.com will join us in a little more than 30 minutes. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott make up our great 8-hour on a Wednesday, where we have a new number 1 in college football, which is funny because it's who most has assumed has been number 1 all year. But the playoff committee, Mark, says, in fact, Georgia is now number 1. And the reason why I think it has some meaning is if potentially they lose to Alabama. Can you go from 1 to 5? Because you could also make the case that if they lose to Alabama and they're a 12-1 non-conference champion, are you really going to drop them below 12-1 Texas? If Oregon beats Washington, 12-1 Oregon. Honestly, let's rank the 12-1s here. Ohio State was ahead of Georgia. Did it keep, is this a bad day for Ohio State if they lose a close one to Michigan? If they were number 1 and lost on a field goal or less to Michigan, could they make the argument at the end of the year, listen, we should be 4?
All right, give me a little chaos. Texas wins out. They're 12-1.
Right.
Alabama wins out, which means Alabama and Georgia are 12-1.
But Alabama's the SEC champion.
Right.
Okay.
Oregon wins out.
Right. Well, first off, can we just sidebar this? This in and of itself is an interesting discussion, I feel, because we're going to have more of this going forward. What win means more? So Washington beats Oregon in the regular season when they're both unbeaten and, but then Oregon 6 weeks later, 8 weeks later, whatever the case may be, they play on a neutral field and they beat them in the conference championship game. Which win to you is the bigger win? How do you break that tie? Is the October win actually more meaningful than the December win?
David, I would rank it this way. If the road team wins the regular season game, that's 1.
Okay.
Then the neutral site game is 2. The home team winning the first meeting is 3.
Regular season game. Okay, so Washington, since they won at home, if Oregon beats them in the title game, that win means more to you.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. And I do think that, keep that in mind. Hopefully we'll be doing this show for years. And, we're going to have a convoluted mess in these conference championships who are then going to, have to be seeded for the 12-team playoff or whether or not somebody should get in the playoff. Mark, think about this going forward. We've never had it yet because they were in divisions. Is it not possible that Michigan and Ohio State could play on back-to-back Saturdays?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. So Michigan beats Ohio State, and then they go to Indy and Ohio State wins. So you're saying to you, Ohio State's win at Indy would outrank Michigan's win in Ann
It
Arbor.
would, to me.
Okay. Well, I think that's important to distinguish now because, we're going to have these 47-team super conferences and this type of thing could happen.
Now, I mean, there are circumstances that could change that. One team blows out another one. The other game's a close game. But just on the whole, that's my initial. So, okay, so we've got the two SEC teams with one loss, but Alabama's the champ.
Right.
We've got the loser of Michigan, Ohio State with one loss.
Now, remember, though, they'll be 11-1. They won't be 12-1. They'll be 11-1. It's worth noting. It's that extra game.
You're right. You're right. They will be an 11-1 team.
Correct.
We'll have two Pac-12 teams that could be 12-1.
Correct.
That's if Washington wins until they get there.
Well, let's assume they do.
And then Texas.
Uh-huh.
So we have two Pac-12.
Right.
One Big Ten.
Uh-huh.
One Big 12. And one SEC non-champion.
Uh-huh.
We have two teams that would be in already with donuts.
The Big Ten champion in Florida State?
Correct.
Okay.
That's 5 spots for 2 teams.
It is.
And Alabama, we think, would be in by beating Georgia.
So the SEC champion's in. So Florida State and Alabama would play in a semifinal, 2 versus 3. Boy, there'd be nobody interested in that.
And who would play the Big Ten winner?
Well,
we think it should be Texas, right? Are you in agreement that you think it should be Texas in this scenario?
Well,
they beat Alabama. Or are you putting Oregon in ahead of Texas?
Listen.
Or are you putting are you putting Georgia or the loser of the Ohio State Michigan game in?
I am not putting the loser. Well, I'm certainly not putting Michigan in if they lose. And it has nothing to do with this scandal. It was they had no meat on the bone in their schedule this year. I don't see how you can, even though you may think they're terrific. I mean, they played 2 games.
All right, just for what and giggles. Ohio State loses a close game in this scenario.
Right.
So Michigan's the 1.
Uh-huh.
Florida State's the 2. Bama's the 3.
Well, now see, I wouldn't, I would not be inclined to have Alabama ahead of Texas. You know that, right? You know that.
I got you. Okay, so with this scenario, you'd put Texas the 3 and Alabama the 4? Well, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just asking.
Okay, head to head. Texas or Oregon, who should go? If it comes down to those 2, who would you put in?
I think Oregon.
Okay. Now we have 2 spots available. You and I believe Texas should go ahead of Alabama. So if you're putting Oregon in ahead of Texas, then aren't you saying that your Final Four is not going to include the SEC champion?
I would put Texas in.
And see, that is
not going to happen that way.
That's what everybody says. Everybody says there's no way. Because also, none of us ever envisioned we could have a scenario where a 12-1 SEC champion doesn't make the playoff. This is where you and I are going to hang ourselves on the whole Texas-Alabama thing. This is our problem. This is where we're going to be made to look bad. Because there's no one in the country that's going to put Texas in ahead of Alabama if Alabama wins out.
Would they put Texas in ahead of Oregon?
Well, why? See, that's to me, if you believe that this weekly gong show has meaning, this is 3 weeks in a row now where is Oregon in relationship to Texas? Ahead of them. Well, going forward, does Texas play anyone that if they beat them, it is worthy of them leapfrogging Oregon? No. Which is why there are many that believe that Alabama is going to leapfrog them both. And then the question mark, like you said initially, it would be, and we're just saying this for argument's sake, Michigan, the 1 seed, because they'll be favored at home to win. They'll be the 13-0 Big Ten champion. Michigan or Ohio State, whichever team you want to put there. They're the 1. Florida State would be the 2. Alabama, the 3. They're the SEC champion. They've won 11 games in a row. They beat the number 1 team in the country.
Right. Would be considered the hottest team in the country.
Would be considered the best win of the year in college football. And oh, by the way, their name is Alabama. So they would be 3. Now, let's play the game. We've got Oregon at 12-1 as conference champion. We have Washington at 12-1, non-conference champion. We have Texas 12-1 as a conference champion. And, wait for it, we have 12-1 Georgia.
I mean, the more I think about it, it's really simple. Big Ten winner 1. Alabama 2. Big Ten loser 3. Georgia 4. We've got this.
Well, I believe ESPN and Fox have divvied this up accordingly. Yes. Yeah.
And undefeated Florida State, I'm sorry, you're left out. Your wins just aren't impressive enough.
Right. You need to join one of these conferences. Oh, you've been trying to? Oh, well, should have made it happen, I guess. But to be serious for a moment, if Georgia is competing with the best Pac-12 team, whoever you believe that to be, Oregon/Washington at 12-1, and Texas. See, based on the playoff committee's own polling, how can you put Georgia in ahead of Texas? First off, Georgia didn't play anybody non-conference. Texas did. And, oh, yeah, you lost to the team that Texas beat. So how do you go ahead of Texas?
It really screws Georgia. You think about it. If they would have beaten Oklahoma.
Right.
In this scenario. But the week 2 win was Oklahoma.
Right. And then Texas, of course, their one loss is to Oklahoma. Right. But there are a lot of people that believe that Georgia would still find a spot at 4. That at the end of the day, it would be because what is this ultimately at the end of the day, Mark? This is a beauty pageant. It is. Who do I think is better looking than the other? Take looking out of it, but that's really what it comes down to. What's the argument going to be if Alabama beats Georgia? 24-20. Terrific game. Bama wins again. Kirby's going to spend 12 hours going, we haven't lost a regular season game in 3 years, right? We're the 2-time defending national champion. You really think there are 4 teams in the country better than us? Who do you want to compare us to? He'll bring up the argument Nick brought up last year. Nick talked about Vegas says we'd be favored against all the teams you're comparing us to as to who should we get the 4th spot. And Kirby will be right.
And we just keep going back to this because the odds are these teams are not all running the table, not even the ones that don't play one another. Thanks for listening. Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Huh.
Mark, I am in the backstage of the StreamYard.
Oh, okay.
Just whenever you get a sec. And I'm muted this time.
Why? Do you gargle?
No, you have
No,
to. If not, it has an echo
Oh,
because it picks up the mute. It picks up the microphone on his computer as well as the microphone.
gotcha.
Microphone.
Okay.
And it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Well, RCB, remember, there's going to be 3 pretty big ACC, SEC games coming up. Clemson, South Carolina, Florida State, Florida, Georgia, Georgia Tech. But ACC should win 2 of them.
Did you see that story, the Raiders guy that got cut? The Raiders had just put out the social media thing about him saying all the nice things about his brother who served, and they cut him an hour later.
Yep. Well, that was the Braves this year, right? They released the guy the morning of he was being honored, or
parents or did so,
yeah, right. They released him 2 hours before the game.
Poor Ken Dorsey. All they're going to show is him blowing up in the presser all day today.
That was. All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. David Bearman, Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. He'll join us a little more than 15 minutes time. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott in our 8 o'clock hour. You know, we just talked for a bit about the whole musical chairs that could become who the Final Four is in the college football playoff. You know, if you assume everybody wins out or one strategic upset, what have you. Here's what's more shocking to me, Mark, than what conventional wisdom is nationally. Did you read the comments in our Twitch chat room after we did that segment? RCB, I think they'll find a way to screw Florida State. So think about that. They're in the top 4 now. They win out, including a win over currently 10th ranked Louisville. And he thinks they're going to find a way to stick it to Florida State. Why would we want another TCU in the final game, according to Swamp Buggy Guy? When in doubt, pick an SEC team. Seminoles 5152 is his Twitch moniker. Seminoles 5152. FSU fan here, as if that needed to be pointed out, by the way. If FSU wins out and doesn't make the 14 playoff, I am surprisingly okay with that.
What?
If FSU wins out and doesn't make the 14 playoff, I am surprisingly okay with that.
I'm not.
Now, someone else in our Twitch chat room made the point, you know, if Washington wins out and Florida State wins out, don't you think Washington should be ahead of Florida State? Don't you think they played a tougher schedule?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and I do think you can make that argument. You know, and seeding could be important, you know, who you want to play or not play in the semis, etc. Or, God forbid, we get into a discussion where one of those two is going to be left out. You know, Canada Relief says, listen, we better get used to for the next 20 years. It's going to be SEC versus Big Ten for the Natty.
Or SEC versus SEC for the Natty.
Or Big Ten versus Big Ten for the Natty.
That's
right.
That's the problem that the networks have going forward, is when we get conference rematches for national championship games.
I guess trying to look forward, and you and I do that a lot. You know, what TCU did to Michigan last year, that doesn't happen a lot. I mean, it doesn't. Now, you got to go back, you know, 70s, 80s, when we didn't have a system where the 1 and 2 played each other or the top 4 played each other, and we had the bowls. And there were some upsets in the bowl. You know, I mean, Miami's first national title. They went in that game with Nebraska. I think they were 5th. I think they were consensus 5th. But they won, and they ended up being consensus number 1. I mean, you know, Notre Dame in 77 Undefeated Texas was number 1 in the country. I think Notre Dame was 5th going into the Cotton Bowl that year. They won, and it's not that everybody else lost either, but, they vaulted them all the way up to 1. I mean, it's been a beauty pageant forever in this sport.
Right, but now the beauty pageant is to get in to determine who the national champion is.
But in those instances, Miami was an independent. Nebraska was from the Big 8. Texas was from the Southwest Conference. Notre Dame was an independent.
I am trying to figure out, as you mentioned, Notre Dame, is just how they are going to maintain their independence going forward. It's all on NBC, and we've talked about that a million times, or whomever would jump in to take that television contract, Amazon.
Listen, I mean, you and I are both Catholic, so we could say this, and I don't want any repercussions, okay? The Catholics have always been very consistent, okay? Money talks, okay? Whether it's with the church or with their sports. Well, we've been very consistent. There's no pretense here. It's why I felt good going to a Jesuit college, because I was led to believe growing up they handled the finances of the church. I'm like, oh, good. Okay.
Quick sidebar.
Uh-huh.
My daughter's coming up on middle school, and my wife has the idea that maybe she'll go to one of the Catholic middle schools. And she's like, well, she does this at the church, and she does this at the church. And because there's a new school voucher, it's harder to get into private schools now because you can get some money back. And she's listing all the different things. And I said, honey, do you want to get her into the school? It's called a donation.
There you go.
It's very simple.
Come on. This isn't about.
I don't care what she's done. I don't care what her resume reads.
Hold on a second.
All we have to do is put more money in the jar, and she gets in. That's the way this works.
Your wife, a lifelong Catholic, okay? Her family, lifelong Catholics. Your wife honestly thought a resume and extracurricular activities were relevant in this situation?
Never attended a Catholic school or university, David.
Wow.
Just a good old Pittsburgh Catholic. She doesn't have any idea what it takes.
I love her naivete. I really do. I hope she doesn't lose that.
No, she won't.
Man.
I'll just have to sneak the check over on the side, if you know what I mean.
That's fantastic. All right. Back to the discussion before we get to Trent and the play of the day. And the Pistons lost yesterday, so I have no idea what he's going to do. And Michigan State lost. Anyway. So do we think going forward, though, like we had last year, TCU beat Michigan? Yeah. Okay. Made for a bad final game, but it was exciting when it happened. That happens in the NCAA tournament sometimes. We have chaos. We end up with a Final Four, and it's not particularly good like last year.
Miami, FIU.
Yeah. And so do we think that the college football playoffs going forward are going to be like the NFL playoffs? We think a lot, Cincinnati went for the 4 seed 2 years ago, nearly won the Super Bowl. We think the Giants at 9-7 won a Super Bowl, at 10-6 won a Super Bowl. Do we think in a 12-team playoff, we're going to have the upsets that we have in the NFL? Because if we do, this is going to thrive. Doesn't matter if they're all AFC, NFC. So who cares if they're all Big Ten, SEC? If we get the upsets. But if we don't get the upsets.
Can we just put the Big Ten on one side, the SEC on the other, so we can guarantee a Big Ten SEC final?
They'll find a way to do it. Trust me. All right.
Time now for our play of the day. Trent, what do you have for us?
A lot of people wanted the Wolves-Warriors fight. Don't have it. I'm sorry. We go to Bowling Green, Ohio, where the Falcons have a 20,000-plus strong home crowd and a 31-25 lead on Mark's first-place Toledo Rockets. With a minute 45 and 4th and 2, the Rockets were down to their last play. Here it is.
This is your ball game. Finn floats it, keeps Toledo alive. Jacquez Stewart turns on the gas. Touchdown, Toledo!
Quarterback DeQuan Finn finds Jacquez Stewart for a 59-yard catch-and-run touchdown. PAT's good. Rockets steal a win to move to 10-1. 2 no-doubt bets hit. Unfortunately, Mark, Bowling Green covers the 9.5 pretty easily, and the over 48.5 also hits with a bullet. And from the MAC, there is your play of the day.
Solid. Toledo's already in the MAC championship game. If Miami of Ohio wins tonight, I believe they win their side, and they're in the championship game.
Throw the records out when Toledo and Miami play one another.
Damn right. Damn right. It's Ohio against Ohio. Boy, what are the odds of that in the MAC? I mean, it's kind of like
the Maumee River.
Be kind of like Michigan against Michigan in the MAC. What are the odds of that? Pretty damn good, actually.
We'll talk some NFL. David Bearman from Pro Football Network to join us next. The 8 o'clock hour with Seth Everett and Bud Elliott. Still all ahead. Thanks so much for listening right here to Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, wow. Pro Football Network has a deal with ESPN Bet. Did you see this?
I did not.
Get a $250 bonus on the new ESPN Bet with promo code PFN. Deposit $10.
That's what that's kind of what all of them do. So yeah, good for them.
But I mean, the fact that, it's not like they're owned by ESPN.
They will be.
Well, I'm sure that's the hope. Mark, John wants to know, did you ever smoke a turducken?
No, I've never made a turducken.
Turducken looks so good. I've never had it.
It's amazing. It's so moist. It's tremendous.
Rank those meats, David. Or those birds.
They're all tied to first for me.
Is it turkey or chicken that Jim Harbaugh says is a nervous bird and he doesn't eat it?
He changed his tune. Did you see him at the presser Monday?
No.
He said, I was wrong. And then he went on to give his scouting report. I think he said it was chicken.
Chicken was a nervous bird and he doesn't eat chicken. What a bizarre thing to say.
He's an interesting dude.
I think it's funny. I mean, not to say that brothers have to be exactly alike, because I have two of them and we're not. But like, the difference between John and Jim is so funny because they look so much alike, and they're both head coaches, and you just kind of expect the same temperament. No,
one's normal.
Jim is so quirky, so quirky.
That's one way to describe it.
And he's a cheater.
No, he didn't know. He didn't know. There's no evidence that he knew. I just
Nothing of substance, David.
I just want one other coach to be able to say, well, I can understand how something like that could happen and I wouldn't know about it. That's all.
I need Ohio State to beat them.
No.
I can't get behind
No.
And no Canada relief. Raisins do not belong in stuffing, and Michigan belongs in the college football playoff.
I didn't know raisins.
College football deserves Michigan in playing for the national championship.
Ugh. I just threw up in my mouth.
A championship they have not won in 26 years. This is the beautiful thing, though. People are going to be rooting for Ohio. Big Ten people are going to be rooting for Ohio State against Michigan. That's number one. Number two, people around the country may be rooting for the SEC against Michigan. That's no,
they're all rooting for Michigan, David. They're America's team.
Well, that's true. Listen. I want to. Is Ryan Day going to talk next week? Man,
I think you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Oh well, first off, it doesn't matter what he says. Okay, his whole job depends on beating Michigan. Doesn't matter a word he says.
Craisins and stuff. Again, I didn't know raisins or craisins in stuffing was a thing. But personally, I wouldn't like it. I don't think. I like the saltiness and the,
Let us know when you get David.
You're calling David here.
Oh, yes. Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Our great 8 hour at the top of the hour. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott on a hump day. It's been a while since David Bearman's been kind enough to join us. He's the Chief Content Officer at Pro Football Network. Man, that sounds busy because all they do is put out content. Okay. Follow David on Twix, Twitter/X at David Bearman, Bearman, PFN. David Bearman, PFN. David, it's David and Mark. How you been?
Doing good. Happy to be back on. And here I am watching Monday Night Football around Halloween, and I look up at my screen, and there you are on TV wearing a bird, was it a bird or turkey outfit or whatever it was, right there on Monday Night Football. There you are.
Dinosaur was the outfit, David.
Dinosaur.
It was a dinosaur. Or as Joe Buck called him, a sad lizard.
A sad lizard. There it was, right there on my screen. So I hope when I had Dalton on last week with you guys that he teased you about it. I sent him the picture. I couldn't be on that morning.
Is that when you turn and you go, can you believe I actually go on that guy's show? Man, what is wrong with me?
What I actually said was, when I was in college in the late 90s, I did something very similar to you, and I can't believe it's 25 years later and they're still flying people in from all over the country to spot and do stuff.
Well
and
done,
they
sir.
haven't upgraded to local people just yet in this industry 25 years later.
All right, the Bills fire Ken Dorsey. Did he deserve it?
I mean, he's the scapegoat, and you knew that was going to happen. We predicted that was going to happen on Monday night after the game. We wrote an article on Pro Football Network is who's going to take the blame here. And, Ken Dorsey is the architect of an offense that isn't doing very well, but I would say he's not the guy throwing into triple coverage. He's not the guy fumbling snaps, and he's not the guy running around acting as if he has no idea what's going on like Josh Allen is. So I don't personally think Ken Dorsey's the reason that this team is 5-5 and rapidly falling out of the playoff race. If anything, I think you need to look at the man at the top who, ever since he lost coordinators like Brian Daboll and Leslie Frazier, all of a sudden has a team that's solely underperforming. And, McDermott was brought in there to revitalize that team, and he did it. But like any good team, you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, and he's not going to take the fall. So bye-bye Ken Dorsey.
They really haven't been the same since that Monday night in Cincinnati. They were convinced they were going to the Super Bowl in January of this year, that they were going to win out. They were going to be the 1 seed. Nobody was going to come to Buffalo and beat them. And they were finally going to get this thing done. And they were never the same last season after the Damar Hamlin near tragedy. And outside of a 3-week stretch, David, where they look like world beaters, they look like the Washington Commanders more often than not.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. You thought that maybe with the emotional, hey, we're going to host this playoff game versus the Cincinnati team that we had this big emotional night on with Damar Hamlin, and he's going to be back at the stadium, and we're going to score on the opening kickoff on a kick return. They really have not been the same since then. Cincinnati went in there and blitzed them in Buffalo in the playoffs, even with the kick return for a touchdown going against them. And they have not been the same this season. You mentioned the 3-week stretch, and they did look impressive in that 3-week stretch, but keep in mind that was against the Raiders, that was against the Commanders, and then obviously they beat the Dolphins in pretty impressive fashion. But since then they haven't. You're talking about a team that's 2-4 with 2 wins, one against the Giants when there was a missed pass interference in the end zone at the last play of the game when they should have lost that game, and they squeaked by Tampa Bay. So those are the only 2 wins that the Bills have since that impressive Dolphins win. And you look at the schedule coming up, schedule that has the Jets this week, which they should be able to beat, even though I would advertise to take the +7 in that one. Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins. That's not screaming wins, and that's not screaming playoffs. And I said this last night on VSiN, I think the Bills' only path to the playoffs is to keep within striking distance of the Dolphins and then beat the Dolphins week 18 and win the division, because I don't think they would, of course, need the Dolphins to stumble because they're already a game and a half behind Miami. But I last Monday when the odds reposted, I took the Bills not to make the playoffs at +110, and it's now at -220. So you use no value there anymore. But I took it last week, not necessarily thinking they were going to lose to the Broncos, but looking at that schedule and saying, hey, this is a 5-4 team that just lost to the Bengals. They got the Broncos coming up who are improved. And then you look at the rest of their schedule. And I think that window has closed. People talk about windows and how long it is and championship windows. And they've had a good team for 3.5 years now and have missed every chance to go to the Super Bowl, including a year that they were in the AFC Championship game. And, you blow leads where you allow Kansas City and Pat Mahomes to go down the field in 17 seconds. And then you lose playoff games at home on emotional nights, and now you're sitting there thinking the window might be closed.
Well, and Mark, we mentioned it on Monday. Not only now are the Bills 2-4 in that stretch, they're 0-6 against the number in that stretch. So I don't know how you don't take the Jets and the points.
And look, you mentioned the Bengals in that answer, just another team that's 5-4. They lost to Houston. How is this a must-win for the Bengals against the Ravens on Thursday night?
It is, especially with a schedule that still includes the Jaguars, the improved Vikings, a couple of games against the hated Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Browns. There's no outs on that Bengals schedule. The only games that you would look at, put a W next to, are division games against teams that are just as good, if not better than them. So I think it is a must-win. I don't think it is a win for them. I think the Ravens are the better team. And a little stat that our Bengals reporter, Jay Morrison, threw out there, the Bengals have lost 13 consecutive road primetime games. They're 0-13 over the last 10 years. And the team that has the best record over that time at home is the Baltimore Ravens, 12-3 in primetime home games over that stretch. So all signs are pointing to a Ravens win this week. And if that's the case, the Bengals fall further behind in the wild card and division race. So I do agree. I think it's a must win. And really, it's a hole that the Bengals created for themselves at the beginning of the season that you thought they would climb out of. You had the disappointing loss to the Texans that might have been too much to overcome, especially if they lose to the Ravens tomorrow night.
Well, David, I hope you get that stat to Al Michaels because he'll find a way to work it into the broadcast. You know that. He's David Bearman, Chief Content Officer, Pro Football Network, ProFootballNetwork.com. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X, David Bearman, Bearman, David Bearman, PFN, David Bearman, PFN. How come the Ravens seemingly can't get over the hump? I mean, David, they should be 10-0. I mean, they really should be 10-0. How come they keep screwing up these games?
I just don't think they're as good as everybody thinks they are. Granted, I have a ticket on them to win the Super Bowl that I took before the season purely based on the value that was out there. I bit the bullet last week and took them minus the number versus the Browns. They're fool's gold. I think they are better than the teams in their division, teams like the 6-3 Steelers who are beyond fool's gold. I think they're better than teams like the Raiders who have 5 wins and are not very good. But I don't think the Ravens are the Super Bowl contender that their record shows. But you are right. They could be 10-0. And they absolutely could win the Super Bowl. They are one of a handful of teams right now that I would put on the list that can win the Super Bowl. But there's just something there every year. Maybe it's just something Lamar's missing. Maybe it's something that the offense or defense is missing. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I feel the exact same way that you do. You look at their talent, you look at their team, you look at their coaches. They could be 10-0, but they also could be 5-5. And it seems like some days they look like world beaters as they go in there and they dominate the Lions. They dominate the Seahawks, and you're like, this is the best team in football. And then they go up and blow a 14-point lead to the Browns at home. So I don't know. Maybe it's that killer closing instinct. The Ravens is a team that I would want to have my money on that I can then jump off of in the second half of a game or the second half of the season. Because they're the team that's going to impress you, and then they're going to let you down. So if you could ever find a bet where you take the Ravens early and then dump them late, that's the team you want.
How much faith, if any, did you lose in Jacksonville based on what happened against San Francisco? I mean, they're kind of in the line. You mentioned Baltimore beating down Seattle and Detroit. San Francisco beat down Dallas, and Dallas has looked to revive. What about Jacksonville after that beatdown? What do they have to do to recover?
I think Jacksonville is exactly what Jacksonville is. They're going to be a nice 10-win team, possible division champ of the weakest division or second weakest division in football, and an early exit in the playoffs. Last year, they had the late rally and won 7 straight games and then had a 28-point comeback against the Chargers in the playoffs. It was all rah-ha-ha. This is going to be the team this year, the sleeper team next year with Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson, and they jumped out to a hot start. I just don't think they're as good as a Baltimore, as a Miami, as a Kansas City, San Francisco, and we saw it. You lose at home by 4 touchdowns coming off a bye, and you're hot as can be. That tells me all I need to know that, yes, they're a nice team. They're a team that I would, say, hey, I think they can win the division. I do have money on Houston winning the division. I think Jacksonville eventually does win it, but I don't see them going any further than potentially 1 win in the playoffs, and I'd be surprised if that happens.
This is a really big NFL week. It starts with a terrific Thursday night game, and it wraps up with a Super Bowl rematch, and you don't get that very often in a regular season. When you look at the Eagles and Chiefs, they're both the 1 seeds a year later in their respective conferences at this point in time. How do you see that matchup?
So I posed this question last night on VSiN. If you were to book a Super Bowl line tomorrow, the game's in Vegas, Eagles, Chiefs rematch, what would you put the point spread at? I would put the Eagles favored by 1 or 2 points. You look at this game in Kansas City this week, and the Chiefs are a 2.5, 3-point favorite. And I question it. I understand there's home field advantage, it's a tough place to play in Arrowhead, yada, yada, yada. But you compare the two teams, I think the Eagles are the better team. I think top to bottom, they're just more talented, and they have it going right now. They've proven it in wins against the Cowboys and wins against the Dolphins. The Chiefs are struggling. And yes, the Chiefs beat the Dolphins in Germany, not because of Patrick Mahomes and that offense. They won because of defense and errors that the Dolphins made, like turnovers on fourth down and fumbles that go the other way. I like the Chiefs. The Chiefs are absolutely one of the best teams in football, but I think the Eagles are better. And if the rematch was held tomorrow in the Super Bowl, I'd pick the Eagles. And if you're going to give me 2.5, 3 points, I'm going to take the Eagles. So I think the Eagles cover and win this one in Kansas City this week. And the questions continue about how good Kansas City is.
You still taking the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl over the Niners, though?
I am. I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. I think they can lose to the Dolphins. I think they can lose to a Kansas City in the Super Bowl. But I will take the Eagles to win the NFC as long as Jalen Hurts stays healthy, which, he's had some leg issues and he's been wearing braces. But as long as he stays healthy, I think that team with the lines that they have on both sides of the ball and the talent they have and the coaching they have, I think this team is, I would take them to win the NFC. San Francisco is right there, and I wouldn't discount Detroit, but I still think the Eagles are the team to beat out in the NFC.
I'm trying to read in between some of what you've said in your last two answers. It sounds like you're pretty high on the Dolphins, even though they've yet to beat the teams that we're talking about.
I do, and I think the Dolphins, the narrative is whatever you want to make of it. They have beaten up on pretty bad teams, and if you look at the games versus the better teams, they didn't show against Buffalo, which is going to happen over the course of 17 games, 18 weeks. They were tied with the Eagles in the fourth quarter of a game where absolutely nothing went their way, and they were behind the eight ball to begin with injuries. And then the Kansas City game, I mean, I'm talking about a game where they didn't show up in the first half, but gave away 7 points at the end, and they had a chance to tie the game late in the game. So I don't think they're as far away from beating the elite teams that people say they are, just because the record is 6-0 versus bad teams and 0-3 versus good teams. Because you think about it, they beat the Chargers in Los Angeles. That's not a bad Chargers team. It's a Chargers team that just has a bad coach and can't seem to figure out close games. And by the way, they beat now you look at the Denver team that's beaten Kansas City and Buffalo. They beat that team by 50. So I don't think the narrative is as clear as people make it based on, sure, the record shows it. But I would be very surprised if they didn't come out and beat the Raiders pretty bad. I do think that at the end of the day, you're looking at a Miami-Kansas City situation in the AFC with Baltimore having a shot there. But I do think, in my mind, Miami and Kansas City are the two best teams there. And if you play that game in Germany 10 times, I think the Dolphins win it 5 times and the Chiefs win it 5 times. So it might just very well come down to the game being an Arrowhead in January.
It's been 31 years since the Dolphins have been in the AFC Championship game. He's David Bearman, Chief Content Officer at Pro Football Network, ProFootballNetwork.com. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X, David Bearman PFN. David Bearman, BEARMAN PFN. David, thanks for your time. I'm not getting dressed up in any more costumes, okay?
No, as embarrassing as they might say it was to be caught on national TV in a dinosaur costume, if you go back 31 years to that AFC Championship game, a young David Bearman was caught on national TV with his head in his hands crying because the Dolphins were so far behind in the fourth quarter. So we each have our moments on national TV.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. With a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Morning.
Morning.
Did you see my little light trick?
I did not.
Light trick.
Ready? It's dark. It's light. Dark. Light. Pretty cool, huh?
Is this like the clapper? Or what is this?
No, it's because the light from the window, when it's shielded, it lights itself. And when I get out of the way and it's just the light from the window, it darkens. It's wild.
Wow. Okay.
It's been a lot of fun today.
Did you stay up to watch your hockey team?
I saw my hockey team, yeah. I got home late. Everything's late. I had to take my mother to the cardiologist. And it was the doctor that was where they used to live. So it was like an hour drive there, hour drive back. So everything I was working on, I just put it aside, watched the Devils, went to bed. Now I'm doing it. I had an F1 driver set for Monday, and they messed up Eastern and Pacific. I sent the invite for 5:20 Eastern, 2:20 Pacific. They were ready at 2:20 Eastern. I wasn't home.
By the way, apparently that F1 event's not going over all that well in Vegas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Got a lot of unsold tickets.
Have you guys ever had either McEnroe
on? We had John on. It's a while ago now. It's probably a good decade, but we had John on a few times. John used to come through Southwest Florida. There was always tennis events, and he was pretty good about every time he came through, he would come on.
Yeah, he's in Central Park today for a new John McEnroe Tennis Academy. So I asked. My buddy's doing PR for it.
Oh, Here's what is interesting. His view of what the future of American tennis and his brother's view
Are
from
very
a
different.
developmental standard are almost 180 degrees apart.
Yep. And that's the other thing. Patrick is there, and I said I'll take either one. I don't discriminate.
Not when it comes to booking guests. No,
Not
we
when it
do
comes
not.
to McEnroe's. I'll
Yeah.
take any McEnroe
That's a
around.
name.
I take Billy McEnroe, the long lost cousin.
He's got stories, though.
He does. He does. Like when Happy Days brought in an extra kid.
Well, he was
Different
there.
strokes.
He was there for the first season. The kid, right? The older brother.
The older brother, yeah, the older brother. Yeah,
He
and
was
then
a
he
good
disappeared.
basketball player.
Yeah,
He must have got a scholarship and went on.
I was going to say went off to war. They just don't talk about it.
Too dramatic.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network. Relax, Southwest Florida. You got the Diamond District bonus hour coming up 1 hour from now. But you know what we do, 8 o'clock on Wednesdays. It's Seth Everett. It's Bud Elliott. It's the Great 8 Hour. Seth Everett joins us once again. He, the creator, the producer, the host of Sports with Friends and Hall of Justice. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Seth_Everett. Top of the morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing fine. What do you think, by the way, about them charging that hockey player in England with manslaughter for the accident?
It's going to be hard to prove.
I
Don't you
know.
think? It's in the context of the game. I mean, even involuntary manslaughter, here's what I was thinking. And I didn't say this. I haven't talked to anybody about it. I saw the story, and this is what I was thinking. When you sign up to go on the ice skating rink at the local mall, you sign a waiver. When you sign a contract with any hockey league, any professional, anything, don't you sign a waiver? Like, wouldn't you sign something about this exact scenario?
Not necessarily.
Well,
I mean, I spent a lot of years in minor league hockey. I don't ever remember a clause in the contract being if you die while playing because of another player.
That's tough luck, right? Like it's unfortunate, but them's the breaks. Like, what can you do? NFL players don't sign waivers. How come there haven't been 7,000 concussion lawsuits?
Well, there was one, but also we could go back to how many years ago now was it, Mark? Was it 20? The 13-year-old in Columbus who got hit with the puck and was tragically killed, and that's why we now have the netting that we have. But Seth, as we all know, back of the baseball ticket, back of the hockey ticket, what have you, it basically says, hey, man, pay attention. It's on you. But that doesn't mean when something tragic doesn't happen that they can still sue and, by the way, win.
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to play out. And don't forget, nobody's suing the guy. It's a criminal.
Right. No. The local authorities in England decided, and for those that don't know, what's it, a month ago now? Minor league action, and some guy got hit in the throat with another guy's skate blade, and he bled to death. He died.
Yeah.
And so now, yesterday, I think it was, they're charging this guy with manslaughter.
And this isn't the first time someone's died like this. You go all the way back. Was it Clint Malarchuk, the goaltender for,
of course,
the
Buffalo Sabres,
was cut in the neck and nearly died. Last year, Pat Maroon clipped Evander Kane with his skate on the wrist, and Kane was, squirting blood and skated himself off, ended up missing a couple of months because of that. The one thing that was talked about in the NHL general managers, it was a call or meetings they just had about it's time to update the safety equipment that
put
players
a
are
neck
wearing.
thing.
A neck guard,
wrist
right?
things. So because technology has gotten a lot better, they're not as cumbersome as they once were, and players didn't want to wear these things. So you will see changes because of what happened in England.
Well, what I don't think you're going to see is any argument from the players' union. At least in the NHL, they're going to say, "Sure, whatever you want to do." I've already heard players say they want to do it, and you know they're all for it. You know,
Well,
what I
a lot
mean?
of them are already wearing it. You know, even though it's not mandated, a lot of them already started wearing more protective gear. That
Yeah, and you don't realize it when in the course of the game. You're not watching and seeing who it is. When you see a close up, you'll say, "Oh, that guy's wearing it," but it's not. Like you said, it's not cumbersome. It's not obtrusive. It's not something that would impact the look of the sport or the play of the sport.
He's Seth Everett, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Seth_Everett. A story that you were on top of as much as anybody many, many months, if not years ago.
Prince had a will.
We're not going there. First off, you would do an hour before we get a question in. Secondly, all right, the Bally Sports and they're going under and the money and what have you. There's an interesting dynamic in baseball. Bally's has said to Major League Baseball, listen, by the end of the year, we'll let you know what teams we're still going to televise and what teams we're not. And Major League Baseball and those teams have said, we got free agency going on right now. Teams kind of need to know financially what the deal is like now. And Bally's like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. We got 6 weeks. We'll give you an answer.
Well, what it looks like is there's been a uniform decision that at the end of this season, all those contracts are terminated.
All of them?
Yeah. And that if Bally's wants to keep a team, they have to renegotiate and sign a new contract. So the old contracts, which is what baseball wanted, they want the contracts to be taken out. They just want all the provisions thrown out. And at the end of this year, baseball confirmed that the reserve fund, the strike reserve fund, paid the Padres and the Diamondbacks money that they would have lost when Bally's dropped them.
And they paid them like 90% too.
Something like that.
One
Yeah,
team
I
was
thought it
like
was 80,
60
but yeah.
million and they got like 52 of the 60. I mean, that's
and
pretty
that's
damn
60% of their gross revenues. So like we're talking about a lot of money. That's not sustainable. That can't be happening, going forward. So these decisions have to be made. What I've been told is that baseball wants to, at the end of 2024, create some kind of a regional package. And they're going to follow the NBA's lead because the NBA is doing the similar thing. Hockey's not doing anything like this. It'll be very interesting to see just how this plays out. It's not sustainable that the league can subsidize the money and these games are getting broadcast. There's all kinds of these carriage deals. For example, in Phoenix, there's like 25 games that are over the air. And they're saying like this is a new way of distribution, which is actually the old way of distribution. But the money for it doesn't even remotely come close.
Are any of these leagues getting it right? Hockey's not doing it the same way.
Football.
Well, they're not involved with Bally Sports.
I know.
I mean, is any league going to come out better off with what's going on, Seth?
Well, we have to see what the NBA deal is. A lot of the prognostications, the educated guesses is that they're going to re-up with Disney. So that's ESPN/ABC. They're going to re-up with Warner Brothers, which is Turner. But they're also going to add, because both those contracts together were not going to be at the level that the NBA was hoping for. There's going to be a third partner, and it's going to be Amazon, Apple, Google, somebody.
It's going to be NBC.
It could be. I think it's going to be one of the tech companies, and it'll be like for a night. It'll be for like for one night. if NBC did it, it would be a Peacock thing. Wouldn't be an NBC television thing. NBC's not putting Wednesday nights, basketball. They'd put it on Peacock.
Well, Seth, I got to be honest with you. There's not much left for network television. Okay, no, seriously.
Young Sheldon is canceled.
I mean, it sounds preposterous, but they know what the cost of their programming is. They know the guaranteed numbers that they're going to get. They know the demographics they're going to get. Okay, it's not preposterous going forward that a major network will not devote one night of television to a sport not named football.
Maybe. I don't see it. I see Amazon, Apple, Google, one of these guys getting involved, and then you'll have like a night. I just assume Wednesday just because of my brain. But any night, whatever it is, and it'll just be like the MLB package with Apple. It'll be like the Peacock game. It'll be something like that. That's what I think. And if anything, they were going to try to build up Peacock. I don't know if you guys saw the story. Disney bought the majority of Hulu, and they're going to actually merge Hulu with Disney Plus, and it's going to be one app. So you're starting to see the bundle come back just with streaming.
All right. Help me out here, Seth, because as we go forward, is this going to be, because I'm finally, as a cord cutter now, I'm dealing with not being able to watch the Miami Heat, not being able to watch the Florida Panthers, even if I have these, I've got the ESPN Plus, but I can't watch the Florida Panthers because they're blacked out.
Blackout rules.
Are we going to an all ESPN Plus type version of these on, if you're going to try to watch your NBA team, are we going to be doing it ESPN Plus? Is there going to be a regional network to watch these on in 2 years?
Well, that's the thing that the NBA has to negotiate into their contract because their Bally's deals are, ending also. And so the NBA is going to be the forerunner for this. And what the NBA decides to do will be there. Blackout rules, and I've had many sports media people tell me blackout rules are a thing of the past. It's just when. When does it get lifted? Especially in baseball where it's so egregious. But like for you don't live anywhere near Florida, and you should be able to see Panthers games. That's insanity.
All right. About 30 seconds or so. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, go.
Al McCoy, the longtime radio voice of the Phoenix Suns, retired after 50 years. And somebody that was my classmate is now the replacement. John Bloom, the new radio voice of the Phoenix Suns. For the first time in 50 years, it's somebody different. John Bloom talks about the gig and how the season's starting. We talk about the in-season tournament. A lot of hoops talk on Sports with Friends. On Hall of Justice, it's The Marvels. And all the controversy going on with that movie and the Jonathan Majors story. The Marvels on Hall of Justice and John Bloom on Sports with Friends.
Okay, we have 20 seconds, but apparently the movies are tanking and the whole, franchise is in trouble.
The whole thing. I think it's going to be a major cataclysmic implosion. No, they got to recast Jonathan Majors. If they won't want to go forward with him, don't change the story. Don't get rid of King.
All right, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice with Seth Everett. You can follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Seth_Everett. Seth, all the best to you and the family. Good luck to your Devils, even though you wish harm to my Rangers.
3-game losing streak. We got to right the ship before the Rangers come on Saturday.
Here's an idea. Get a goaltender.
Just keep doing it. It's like you won't get a goalie and the Jets won't get a quarterback. Okay, it's working out well for both. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants. all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail
The
East.
law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
First, though, a man has been arrested here with 2.5 weeks. He was seriously deceased in hospital, died as a result, entered which led to the loss of Adam. Indeed.
What's the player's name who's being charged with manslaughter?
Don't know.
Don't know the answer to that.
There's one simple vision hack anyone can use to improve vision, so you can say goodbye to your optometrist for good.
Sunday saw the first game back.
I'm not going to be able to find it.
That's fine. I was just thinking for the podcast, I always put a little blurb in there.
Yeah.
Empire, if it was accidental, I think it's ridiculous. I guess there's great debate as to that it wasn't a hockey play, that it was out of the norm. But if it was an accident, then I think it's absurd. It's like when Winfield hit the ball and it struck a bird in Toronto and they wanted to arrest Winfield. I mean, come on. People got on Randy Johnson when he killed the bird in the spring training. Seriously? Matt Petgrave?
Thank you for that. I will look into it.
Petgrave. It's a somewhat ironic name.
A little bit of irony there.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about here? I think you want to go back and touch. I saw something which might be interesting. They wondered, hey, if the Bills have broken, how close do you think, your team is? Because this has come out of nowhere. I mean, 6 weeks ago, they were 3-1, having blown the game against the Jets, and they were one of the 5 best teams in the league.
Well, what's insane to me is if they don't have 12 men on the field, Ken Dorsey doesn't get fired. Because they win that game, and you're not going to fire a coordinator after a win. It's just it's so obvious they needed a scapegoat, and it's ridiculous.
Now, I will say there are a lot of people that have been wanting.
Yeah, they've been wanting Dorsey gone for a while.
They think
I get that.
They think he's the reason Josh Allen is turning it over.
And that's fine, but I just think that's an isolated thing because if that penalty isn't called and Lutz misses that field goal and they're 6-4,
oh yeah, there's no
they're
doubt.
not firing him. So it's crazy to me that a non-offensive play cost him his job, whether he should have had it in the first place or not. All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Bud Elliott to join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. That will be very lively and entertaining with everything going on in college football. Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports, and quite a few other places to join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Text us at 21,000. If you never have before, you need to send in a keyword. It's FSN Radio. And then you're in. And you could take us in on twitch.tv, the Miller and Moulton channel. So twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. And you get to see our bright, shiny faces.
Boy, that was bright and shiny.
It was great radio, too. Both of us stopping to smile.
Exactly.
Follow us on Twitch.
I want to go back to something David Bearman said and things he said.
Okay.
Because you brought it up at the end of the conversation, but he flat out said he expects the Miami Dolphins to play for the AFC Championship game.
He thinks they're the second best team in the AFC.
Correct.
He does. Mm-hmm. And he started going through the teams. He goes, Jacksonville's a nice, cute team, 10, maybe 11 wins. Maybe they win a playoff game. That's it.
But probably not.
Pittsburgh, he's like, absolutely not. He didn't even mention Cleveland, but you get the impression. I mean, I got the impression, Mark, he thinks the Joker is Cincinnati. That if they get in, all bets are off.
Yeah, but he doesn't think they're getting in because he thinks they're, I asked, do you think Thursday's a must win? And he said, yes, I do, but I don't think they're going to win. And he cited that the Bengals are 0 for their last 12 in prime time. That's a trend, David.
That is. That's something you bet, to be brutally honest. Although I don't know that they've ever played a primetime game with as much desperation as they will be playing tomorrow night in Baltimore.
I mean, they've got Baltimore, 2 with Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Cleveland, Minnesota, Kansas City, and Indianapolis is what's left on the Bengals schedule. It is difficult to say the very least.
The Jacksonville game's on a Monday night. The Jaguars have not played on Monday Night Football in 12 years. I can tell you, Trent, as someone who lives now in Jacksonville, they are beyond fired up about hosting Monday Night Football. This is like when your team and Summerall and Madden showed up to broadcast your team's game, and you went, oh my goodness, we're good. I guess in modern times, it would be Buck and Aikman or Al Michaels showing up to do your game. Oh, my goodness, we're good.
Well, it would have been that way about Al Michaels until he started doing Amazon Prime games.
Well, right. Uh-huh. But I mean, Trent, how excited were Lions fans to be playing the opener this year, prime time, even though it was in Kansas City?
Right. And they traveled well. And when that's the thing, it sets the tone for the whole. That's why these fan bases get so amped up for prime time. Then when it's in your building against a marquee, or maybe not so much this year, but I mean, if you look at that, when is that game? Is it a couple weeks from now?
It's Monday, December 4th.
So we got 3 weeks. They could be the ones to basically take the Bengals out, depending on what the standings are at that point.
And how big of a game will it be for Jacksonville? I mean, they got a game coming up between now and then at Houston, don't they, Mark? Where if they lose it, A, they could end up tied, and B, Houston would have the tiebreaker because they've already beaten them in Jacksonville. So Jacksonville may just be fighting for their playoff lives.
I can't have Cincinnati out in a couple of weeks. I need Cincinnati still hanging on, and not because I picked them to win the Super Bowl, not for those selfish reasons, for more completely selfish reasons. I'm going to see the Steelers and the Bengals on December the 23rd. I need that game to mean something for both teams.
For both teams?
For both teams.
Huh. Well, third to last game of the year. I mean, you could make the case, even if the Bengals are like, 7-6, they could make the case, hey, we win out, we're in. So I think it'll mean something for both teams. But it is interesting. Will we feel the same way about the Bengals if they lose Thursday, the way we felt yesterday about the Bills? Remember our poll question yesterday? Did the Dolphins win the AFC East with the Bills being upset at home by Denver? And 80+% of our audience said, oh, yeah, that baby's over. Put the X next to him in the standings now. Okay. God, I hope you're right. Man, I hope you're right. It's interesting, Mark. You keep coming back to the Bengals. Because what if the Dolphins are what David Bearman thinks they are? What if they are the second best team? Which means in the next 5 games, when they're playing nobody who's above 500, they go 4-1 or 5-0. And then they win 2 of their last 3, putting Buffalo out of their misery, say. And guess what? They're the 2 seed. They play the 7 in the first round of the playoffs. And who could the 7 be? Cincinnati
Bengals.
Is that not the most dangerous draw potentially that is out there?
Well, yes. I mean, because who else are we thinking about? No offense, David, but we don't think about the Browns or the Steelers that way. Great defenses, but we don't think of them as a team that, oh, you're the 2 seed and you get them. Oh, no, the world has ended. If Houston sneaks into the 7, certainly we're not going to think that way about the Houston Texans.
No, and it's not to say that all the teams that we're mentioning can't win a playoff game. But let's be honest. If Cincy gets in the dance, they can run the table.
Yeah, as a college basketball fan, sorry, David, I just wanted to throw this in there because it's like the classic, a weird year, but a blue blood gets like a 7 seed, and no one wants to draw that 7 seed.
It happened 10 years ago. Remember, Kentucky was in the 8-9 game, and there was unbeaten Wichita State. Unbeaten. And they're having to play Kentucky. The only reason Kentucky was an 8 was because they had a bunch of injuries and what have you during the year. Kentucky was the top 5 team in the country, healthy. And come tournament time, they were healthy. And
what would the Bengals be?
Yeah.
If they come in, they'd be healthy. Burrow's been dealing with the calf in the first half of the year. He's healthy now. Any other injuries they're dealing with, if they get in, you would think they would be a little bit better off.
Well, and with their schedule, for them to get to 10 wins with their schedule and their record right now, they obviously will have played some decent football. So they'll be showing up, we're presuming, A, pretty healthy, and B, playing pretty decently. Really? The Bengals? It doesn't matter where they play. Those last 2 playoff runs, they've only played 1 home game. Actually, that's not true. They played 2. First round at home both times. But they've won in Kansas City. They've won in Buffalo. They won in Nashville when the Titans were the 1 seed. I mean, they don't care where they go. Wouldn't that be something? Best Dolphins team in 30 years. And they look
I mean,
across.
when does those receivers get healthy? Chase and Higgins be ready to go?
They look across and they see Joe Burrow. Tell me that's not a bad joke.
Very well could happen.
Just why, if you're a Dolphin fan, you may not have any rooting interest in the game tomorrow night. Yeah, you do. You're rooting for the Ravens. Who cares if they end up the 2 and you end up the 3? Okay, you just want Burrow. You want Josh Allen out. You want Joe Burrow out.
You'll take your shot with C.J. Stroud, Deshaun Watson, or
Trevor Lawrence. Okay, you
Kenny
name it.
Pickett. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Najee Harris. It's just.
I think they announced he's not even starting this week. I think they put.
I know. Well, the other guys ran
better
like gangbusters. Yeah. Is David Bearman possibly right? Are the Dolphins really the second best team in the AFC? They just haven't proven it yet.
They'll have their opportunities the last 3 weeks of the season. That's for certain.
Isn't one of them against Baltimore?
It certainly is, David. Bud Elliott to talk college football. That's next on Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Morning.
What's going on, guys?
Gonna run the wrath of my mother again. I'll defend you.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the hat. Oh, man.
Good. Better you than me. That's all I have to say.
All right. Next week,
day before Thanksgiving,
I will not wear the hat next week.
Okay. All right, Mom, you listening? It's the best he can do for you.
Oh, man.
Bud, you've got a great backdrop.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we just have a very small loft office here. It's just kind of the furthest I can get away from the craziness of the house, So
a Penn State fan just texted me and said, "Hey, tell Bud this just in. Franklin went for 2 again and didn't make it."
Yeah. I mean, look, there's some sort of principal agent stuff if you're the AD, you have to run the athletic department like a business, right? You're nuts for like wanting to get rid of a guy that goes 9-3, 10-2 every year. Like that's consistently turning the profit and keeping most people happy.
But he is starting to look like he's Mark Richt.
I was just good. Boy, did you beat me to that.
Totally. And
I mean, that's, he averaged 9.5 a year for 15 years, and they patted him on the back and they said, "Hey, we'll always say good things about you. Get out."
Yeah, but I don't think that anybody is arguing that if you got the right guy in there, that Penn State's the best job in the country. But people still would argue that about Georgia. I don't think that Penn State has the upside to unlock that Georgia has. Not saying they couldn't have a special season, but like I don't think that
Shouldn't they be better than Michigan? Year in, year out, shouldn't they be as good, if not better than Michigan, though?
I don't think so. Like Michigan's got much better tradition. Like I think they have better support overall. I think Michigan's better
high school recruiting.
No high school recruiting. And I know they're a national brand, and that's I trust me, I know who Michigan is.
Yeah, but Penn State's in the middle of nowhere. Like
it's
really
Alabama.
Hard.
No, it's Philadelphia.
It's hard to
Pittsburgh,
get to that
Alabama.
place.
It is. It is.
I also think Oregon's about to be the number 2 roster in that league, and by a clear margin.
Well,
Michigan's
their
recruiting
is
is
get devastated after this year.
Yeah, that's one reason why when people are like, "Oh, Harbaugh's going to jump," I'm like, I would.
Yeah, because he's going 7-5 next year. Take a look at that schedule.
Do they have a tough one for next year?
Oh my God, it's tougher than the Gators. I think it's the toughest schedule in the country. I challenge you to find a schedule harder than Michigan's next year. They play USC, Oregon, Washington, Ohio State, Texas.
All right, but they do have layups. I mean, Fresno.
Okay. I don't think you heard me. I don't think you heard me. They play USC, Oregon, Washington, Ohio State, Texas. That's to start.
Yeah, but like, there's a real good chance that Washington is like, I mean, they're losing all of their best players, and they've not recruited real well.
Okay.
USC is losing Caleb. I'm sure they'll still be damn good or pretty good.
That game also is at Michigan. I think USC's at Michigan.
It is.
You get Northwestern, you get Indiana, you get Illinois, you get Minnesota at home.
Going to stink again.
Arkansas State and Fresno. I think the top end of Michigan's is harder, but I think your floor is much higher. Like if you swap, like Florida would rather have this schedule because they're almost certainly going to make a bowl against this schedule or come pretty close.
Okay.
Florida's 24 schedule
is
like 4-8's legitimately on the table if they don't play well. That's tough. Great, but like it's so hard to say because we don't know what the hell these guys are going to do in the portal.
Oh.
You know? I don't know.
It's funny you mentioned Washington because the word that I hear is that if Harbaugh leaves, that's who the next Michigan coach is going to be.
That's what a lot of people say. Either you don't think they would promote internally after all this mess, basically.
Maybe.
Sharon Moore would probably be overcome with emotion.
He would.
He swore at the press conference 8 times.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Our final segment along the network on this hump day is Bud Elliott. He of 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports HQ, Cover 3, Nolecast, whatever. Just follow him on Twix, Twitter/X, Bud Elliott, the number 3, 2 L's, 2 T's, Bud Elliott, and 3. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. Just I may have a little bit of a cold. I've made it through 12 weeks of college football, dodged it completely, but the kids still go to school. It is that time of season, so I'm a little nasally this morning. Kind of annoyed. Like woke up and I was like, "Damn it, this is not really what I want."
A little bit of a cough, a little bit of a sore throat, but if you can give them a Motrin and there's no temperature, you send them away. I mean,
they're going to school. Check cash. No, we're not that family. Like, if they legit have a fever, I'm not.
It's
doing
okay.
That. Like,
we're just having fun.
But if they don't have a fever, you send them to school. We're all on the same page with that one.
Yeah.
You're not offending, and if you're offending anybody, I don't know what to tell them.
But my mom was a school nurse. I missed 6 days of school in 12 years. Okay, I mean, trust me, you're fine. So, all right, the dog and pony show last night. We know you didn't watch, but you saw the results. So here, let's just go.
All right, Georgia makes sense as the number one. They've looked dominant for a couple weeks in a row. Turns out, studies show that if you add 2 first-round players back into your roster in tackle Amarius Mims and tight end Brock Bowers, you may look improved, and they did. So, yeah, I think Georgia does look like the number one team right now, and I wonder if not having Brock Bowers in the lineup for a month, do you think that forced Georgia to be more comfortable throwing the football to their other weapons, and now that they add him back in, they just look that much better? This is a crazy stat. I think it was from Cole Kublik. Carson Beck was not touched. Literally, like nobody from Ole Miss touched Carson Beck during the game. Like no hits, no pressures, no tackles. He slid twice. That's crazy.
And he's really good too. This just in. If you don't touch that kid, he's going to be dangerous. You don't move him off his spot, he's going to be dangerous because, we've spent a lot of time this year, not just the three of us, but nationally talking about how much better Alabama has been getting. Well, Carson Beck's been getting better every week, and we almost just expect it out of him.
Totally. And I'm going to push back on the Bama better thing a little bit, right? We came on here the week of that show, and I said I thought Bama was going to wipe LSU because LSU didn't have any of their 4 corners they took in the portal or Mekhi Wingo, their stud D tackle. And Bama moved it on him with ease. And then they went and they played a Kentucky team, which has really struggled this year on defense, and they moved it on them. Are we sure that this bye week and playing 2 really subpar defenses by normal standards, like are we really sure that this Bama offense is fixed? Because I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they're doing translates if they have to go play a Georgia, right? Because I don't think they're going to have all these wide open stuff that they had against LSU, unless all of a sudden like Georgia's entire secondary leaves the team like LSU's did. So I think that they are probably using Jalen Milroe in a more intelligent way that fits his skills. And certainly like they have more comfort with what they can call for him. So I think they're somewhat better, but I'm not all the way bought in. Like I was seeing FanDuel hang a 3 for the line there in the SC championship game. Man, I don't see that. Georgia to me looks different than Alabama does.
So you think in a couple of weeks when they play in Atlanta, you would make the line what, 6, 7, 8?
Yeah, I think it's more 6.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Why is Washington behind Florida State? And does it matter?
I think they're behind Florida State because their recent struggles are against really bad teams. Like teams that they struggled against a Stanford team that just lost 62-10 to Oregon State, right? Like they could have lost that game. They struggled pretty badly and didn't score an offensive touchdown at home against Arizona State, a team that's going to probably go 3-9 or 4-8. So I think the committee is still saying, okay, like they're really struggling against like legitimately bad teams.
Okay.
They handled Utah. It's also an element here. And by the way, speaking of Utah should be above Tennessee. Like in what world does Tennessee have a better body of work than what Utah has? They also have the common opponent where Florida dusted Tennessee and Utah dusted Florida, right? So I think you could totally make an argument that Washington could go ahead of Florida State. Like I don't really have a problem with that. The second part of your question, does it matter? Not particularly. If they both went out, they're both getting in. Now, seeding will probably matter, referencing back to our Georgia conversation. I think you'd prefer to be 3 and not 4 if UGA holds at number 1.
Alabama wins out. Texas wins out. We have 3 undefeated. Who goes?
I think it's Texas. I know this sounds crazy, but like I've held this for about a month now. We're going to have some more SEC teams drop in the rankings, probably, right? Because assuming Georgia beats Tennessee this weekend. The Big 12 seems to be getting a lot of love from the committee, right? Oklahoma State's a touchdown favorite this weekend. They're most likely going to stay in the rankings. Kansas State is going to be a pretty nice win for Texas. and they're going to get to play in the Big 12 championship game. And they beat Alabama by 10 in Tuscaloosa. If you do this, if you put Bama in over Texas, which I really don't think you can, because you need to basically say like they're clearly better, which I don't think their body of work shows that necessarily. Then why the heck are we going to play any non-conference games ever again? Like there has to be some reward for playing the games and what the result of the game was.
Well, we're the only 3 people in the country who would put Texas in ahead of Alabama. Okay, trust me. I mean, everybody that I have talked to for at least 2 weeks now is like, there's no way a 12-1 SEC champion's not in it. And if Alabama beats Georgia, that'll become the best win of the season in the sport, and then that will leapfrog them over anybody you want them to leapfrog.
How is that a better win than Texas dusting the team that beat Georgia by 10 in Tuscaloosa?
Well, what we're hearing is because that was 10, 12 weeks ago, and they're so much better now, and Jalen Milroe gets benched after that game, and now he's on the short list for SEC Offensive Player of the Year, blah, 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 blah. Just telling you what we're hearing.
That is, by the way, the shortest list in the whole sport, because the list is 1 deep, right? I mean, it better be Jalen.
Yes.
Or
yes.
Jaden Daniels.
So be.
I will say there are some other people who agree with us, by the way. I saw Chris Felica last night on Twitter. He definitely thinks Texas gets in over Alabama. I mean, with a 10-point win. I do think that a lot of this is ESPN has very good producers, and they have to come up with topics every week. And I think there would be a debate. Like, I don't think it's slam dunk. Let's go home and eat more cream corn at the Dallas hotel there. But I think it's Texas, man. I do, because the SEC doesn't have any good non-conference wins.
Yeah, I don't know. Basically, what we're being told is it doesn't matter. They're Alabama. It's the SEC. They're a 12-1 champion. Figure it out, but they're in, etc. Listen, in our Twitch chat room, someone asked the question, should Florida State worry about losing Norvell? A&M, a couple other jobs may open. Hell, Michigan may open. I mean, should they worry about losing Mike Norvell?
I don't really think so. I mean, look, if I guess you can never say never, because like, what if A&M just goes completely insane again and it's like, hey, here's $20 million a year or something like that? Like, yeah, go take it. He's from Texas, but I think FSU is much more eager to keep him than they were to keep Jimbo at the end of Jimbo's time. In terms of, it's helpful if you don't piss off every meaningful booster, right? And most of these guys seem to like Norvell. I also don't think Norvell loves playing the booster game, in terms of, at Florida State, there's not that many guys that you have to deal with, right? At Texas A&M, it seems like there's a lot of guys who think that they deserve the 15 minutes, right? Because they cut the check. And a lot of checks been cut there in College Station recently. So, I mean, they really might be about to flip the #1 recruit in the entire country from Ohio State. Things are going pretty well there in Tallahassee recruiting-wise. Never say never. I do think it's a different circumstance.
Who are the top 3 in your estimation for the A&M job?
I mean, Landon came out pretty forcefully and said he wasn't going to take it. He would have been 1. Part of it depends on, like, what is A&M's mentality? Are they too good to go get Jeff Traylor, the Texas San Antonio coach, the guy that knows the state really well and seems to win everywhere he goes? Like, guys like that, I think, should be considered for the job. I would give Mark Stoops a call. Honestly, like, Kentucky's about to get a lot harder. Texas and Oklahoma are coming into the league. You've probably hit your ceiling on what you can do there in Lexington. I think both the guys in Kansas would likely get a look. I don't think that they're going to get, like, will they really go coordinator? We've heard the Glenn Schumann stuff from Georgia. That, to me, do you want a first-time head coach taking over the job, or does it feel too big for that? I don't know. It's a tough thing because there's not like a ton of real obvious guys out there this
year. For the record, gold, silver, bronze, I listed Dabo, Lane, Mike Elko. I think Dabo is the Brian
Elko,
Kelly.
Yes.
Sorry. That Brian. I think that A&M may do what LSU did to Brian Kelly. Okay, I think, and that it may just be time for Dabo. That's the home run, long shot. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. Whatever.
Is it a home run in the same way Jimbo was a home run based on the rings on the fingers, or is the process currently still a home run? Because I'm still buying into Dabo, but I need to see you embrace the transfer portal. You can't just go high school only. You have to fix the roster holes if you have them. Elko makes absolutely a ton of sense for sure. Lane, I don't buy the Lane stuff in terms of that being a good fit. I think you need to really be a killer on the recruiting trail. I think you need to work really hard in recruiting because A&M people care a lot more about winning than Ole Miss people care. They just do. It's a different standard, right? You have to go to all the events. You really have to hold your staff to a high standard in recruiting. You know, you can't do we're Ole Miss, we're not going to get that kid thing if you're coaching A&M. Like, it has to be a switch that has to be flipped. And I don't know if he has that mentality.
What'd you take from Miami's side of the Canes-Knowles game? Obviously Florida State with the win, but Miami looked as if they made strides. It looked as if the line play was pretty damn good. It looked as if there was positives you could build on there, Bud.
I thought Miami tackled extremely well. Like, really good tackling game out of them. Florida State schemed up quite a few looks where they had players who we think are pretty good skill guys one-on-one. And I thought Miami tackled. Like, those were critical moments in the game. Probably 6 or 7 plays. If one guy doesn't make the tackle, it's an explosive or a touchdown. And I thought the Hurricanes tackled well. Miami played a really high-risk, high-reward type of defense, which was the appropriate strategy because you really, in your wildest dreams, you probably can't expect to score more than, best case 24 in Tallahassee. So Miami played a defense that I thought was calculated to hold FSU. If everything goes well, high teens, low 20s, maybe create a turnover or two. And they executed it really well. I thought Miami's defense was awesome in that game. High pressure, outnumbering. They tackled well when they didn't have the numbers. It was pretty impressive. Offensively, I mean, they're just in a tough spot. They didn't want to play Van Dyke. He played the freshman. He completed 8 passes, one of which was, you remember the Vikings-Saints play? In the play, it basically was like that. I mean, the safety knocks out the corner. It was like, oh, that's okay. You completed 2 passes in the second half to that point. And that's one of them. But no, I thought Miami's defense played extremely well. Like, Mario made a really good hire in Guidry there. I know he's on the Broyles Award list. Offensively, we'll see how they continue to progress.
Finally, for me, what'd you think of what the Big Ten did and when they did it?
So I think it was interesting. Like, all the judges in the Big Ten were somehow too related to Michigan, so they had to kind of delay having the hearing. I wonder if some of this isn't a bit of theater, right? Okay, we're going to suspend them if the courts overturn it. Okay, like sorry, other 13 teams blame the courts, almost like a local government did or does when they get sued. They should settle it. It's obviously messed up. Instead, the board doesn't want to get blamed for settling, so they let it go. They get a judgment, and they blame it on the crazy jury system, right? So I think that ultimately Harbaugh probably wins this and then goes off to the NFL. But I don't think they're crazy wrong to do it. But also, do they have the authority to do it under the rule that they did? What's up with the cooperation between the NCAA in a supposedly private investigation with the Big Ten? Is the Big Ten a party to this? There's a lot of factors there that I'm interested to see how they play out. But it didn't seem to faze Michigan that much, with the exception of they did play with a lot of emotion, obviously.
He's Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports HQ, Cover 3 Podcast, Nolecast. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Bud Elliott 3, Bud Elliott 3. Bud, I will leave you with this breaking news from Adam Schefter. Deshaun Watson's out for the year. He's got to have shoulder surgery, placed on season-ending IR. So Deshaun Watson out for the year. Along the network, thanks so much for listening. For those of the 239, the Diamond District Bonus Hour is next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd roll out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd. With over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry. They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That's good news for the Bengals and the Bills.
I don't want women's stretch pants. Come on now. I'm looking at, there we go. That's way too expensive. Yes, I'm pricing long underwear during the break.
I was going to say, are you Christmas shopping or is this
For myself? I don't know how I'm going to survive this football game.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm going to a football game on December 23rd. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to survive it. It's going to be cold, David.
Look at Adam. Adam goes right for the throat. Everybody else talking about his injury. Adam goes right to the massages.
Yep. I mean, it is fascinating how, and the AFC is still good, but how highly we thought of the AFC and how it's
falling apart.
Just falling apart. Yinzer, 40 degrees is cold to me.
Yeah, Buck's taking grief because he, what was it, like 45 or 6 or something. And at one time, you know, he was using crisp or cool or this type, but one time he said the word cold. And so everybody's like, come on, that's not cold. You got to toughen up, you wuss. Come on, you live in St. Louis, for goodness sakes. It gets cold there. Folks, Mark's been in Florida 25 years. 3-4 hours in 40-degree weather. Mark hasn't spent 3-4 hours in 40-degree weather in 25 years total.
Oh, I will be layering up, Samuel. I will be layering up. There's no doubt there.
This week is and last week too was major difference between Fort Myers and Jacksonville time.
Yes, sir.
Like 13 to 17 degrees we've been.
When it was Kessel's stepdad moved down here years ago. He was between here and like the Sarasota, Venice area, and he just watched for a whole season. And literally the difference was 7 to 10 degrees. And he's like, if I'm coming down for 3 months, that's a big, it's a big difference. Then you go up another couple hundred miles, you're dealing with even more. That's when you guys become South Georgia.
No doubt. When you guys are in the low 80s and we're in the mid 60s. Yep.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour exclusively to the 239. Thanks so much for supporting us over the years. And we love doing this hour just for Southwest Florida. Miller and Moulton. Normally along the Florida Sports Network, but not 9 to 10. We're here for Todd and Jason, baby. And a few others. I mean,
Mostly Todd and Jason.
But mostly, Todd and Jason.
Big event this weekend.
That's what I'm told.
Big sales, 8 to 10% over cost on all their GIA certified diamonds.
Well, here's the deal. Anytime you've got a one name, whether it's an entertainer or whether it's a product, anytime it's one name, you're like, ooh, that's big. And what is it they're featuring this weekend?
Corey.
See? There you go.
The designers from Takori will be there with their whole collection.
Takori. It's like Madonna. Takori.
But we don't want you to keep it on the inside. We want you to go outside and visit the Diamond District this weekend.
No, we want you to be the material girl. That's what we want you to be. Yep.
Or make someone your material girl.
But big sale this weekend. So visit Todd and Jason and the Diamond District.
The NFL is changing right before our very eyes, David. As we were going to break with Bud Elliott, you saw it mere seconds before I did. I was ready to jump in and give the news that Deshaun Watson is undergoing season-ending shoulder surgery. And now the AFC North is even more of a mess than it was before the show started today.
Well, the AFC, quite frankly, has now become more of a mess. I mean, did we lose the Bills Monday night? The Bengals, with the loss to the Texans, are 5-4. They're in Baltimore tomorrow night. Take a look at who the Bengals are playing the rest of the year. It's not an easy stretch. And now the Browns, who after the biggest regular season win, certainly since they acquired Deshaun Watson, but in years, against hated rival Baltimore. And not only that, Mark, Browns fans feeling so good. Deshaun Watson looking like Deshaun Watson. They come back. They beat the hated Ravens. And what is it this week, Mark? It's Steelers week. They hate the Steelers. They'd give years off their life to beat the Steelers every single time they play them. This is it. This is that college rivalry in which it doesn't matter if we go 1-11 as long as we beat. I mean, if you said to a Browns fan 2-15, they'd go, "Are they both against the Steelers?" I can live with that.
Browns fan beating the Steelers or Bears fan beating the Packers?
Oh,
Bears Packers, right? Oldest rivalry in football.
I know.
Look, the Browns. I will say this though: how many times did they beat Ben Roethlisberger? Only like twice.
Yeah, the whole time, and they could have drafted him. Yeah,
Yeah.
he
So
was right there.
maybe recent history it would be Browns over Steelers, but
Well, also recent history, the history of the Browns. I mean, yeah. Canada Relief in our Twitch chat room. Browns fans aren't allowed nice things. That's how a Browns fan's thinking. Like, really, seriously. I do think, though. Quick sidebar: can we put the whole? Look how tough Deshaun Watson is. Seriously, he didn't play. He played through a shoulder in which they now figure that whatever went wrong in that shoulder happened in the first half of the game. Look at how he played in the second half with a shoulder that is requiring immediate season-ending surgery. He played through that and delivered at a high level. So we can think whatever we want to think of Deshaun Watson. Don't ever question his toughness and whether or not he wants to play again. We can put that sucker to bed.
So don't you now just scratch the Browns out? I mean,
PJ Walker.
Steelers this week at home.
PJ Walker. Come on, they beat the Niners with PJ Walker. Some people you think they have the best defense in the league.
I do.
I think it's the Jets. You think it's the Browns.
Isn't that
Joshua
hilarious?
Dobbs has just won 2 games. Okay. Now I have to admit, I really wish they had Nick Chubb. I do. I'm not going to lie. I wish they did. Okay. Or quite frankly, D'Ernest Johnson, who the Jaguars took out of the witness protection program last week and actually gave him some playing time. I do. But, man, come on. They beat the Niners with PJ Walker. When the Niners were unbeaten and the greatest regular season team we had seen in 20 years.
Right. Without their tackle and without their receiver.
Well, no, not when the game started. Trent got hurt during that game. Debo, I think, did miss that game. Yes. But, listen, Mark, before Joshua Dobbs showed up in Minneapolis 2 weeks ago today and has now done what he's done, yes, you could cross out the Browns. I'm starting to wonder, Mark. But plus, the whole conference is falling apart before our eyes.
No, David, I think the right 9 could get a wild card in the AFC. I do. I know you don't. I think the right 9 could get the final wild card in the AFC.
Well, it has the last 2 years. Steelers 2 years ago at 9-7-1, and the Dolphins at 9-8 last year. I thought this was the year it was going to take at least 10.
But with the schedules of what the Bills have and what the Bengals have the rest of the way, no guarantees that they get to 10. We're dealing with a Texans team with a rookie quarterback who's playing way over their skis right now. Do they have 5 more wins in them?
The Raiders and Colts are both 5-5. Do we really think they're going to go 5-2 the rest of the way? I mean, I know what you're saying is true. And I got to be honest, if I'm a Bills fan or a member of their organization today, I'm like, well, hell, one of the teams that was above us at 6-3 could just fall apart here. I mean, now, let's be honest. What's the difference between the Browns and the Jets? Now, I'll tell you what it is. There's no way P.J. Walker's as bad as Zach Wilson. It's not possible.
It's such a shame that the 2 best defenses in football don't have quarterbacks.
You know
the
what's
3
also,
best defenses too, because Pittsburgh's right there too, and they don't have a quarterback.
Like,
That's their starter. So
what's up with that?
Kenny Pickett can't play. I've been watching this all year. I'm sorry.
He can in the fourth quarter, though. Because for whatever reason, in the fourth quarter, they decide this might be a good time to throw the ball to Pickens. It's kind of like Atlanta getting Kyle Pitts involved in the offense. Wow, things go better when we do that. Huh, who knew? I do think, though, if I'm the NFL, and goodness knows I'm stuck in my ways sometimes, and Rich McKay shoots down every damn good idea with the competition committee. But isn't this another argument for we got to move the trade deadline back? Because imagine, Mark, if the trade deadline was next Tuesday. The Tuesday, you and I wanted the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. What if we just did the Tuesday before Thanksgiving? The Browns could go get some help. Hell, the Jets just had a team meeting. They're trying to keep the locker room from falling apart. Joe Douglas might actually admit his mistake and go get a quarterback today. He might have to also, because now the Browns are calling for a quarterback. After what Josh Jobs just did, we sure you're a team out there, you're not calling for a quarterback? Hey, this sounds crazy. Would you take Jimmy G off the Raiders' hands for the rest of the year? Hey, it's complicated whether he just signed a new contract and all. I get that. But
Ryan Tannehill's not starting the rest of the year. You wouldn't take a shot at him?
And he's a free agent, by the way, at the end of the year. And you could say to the Titans, listen, you're already fitting them in under your cap. Take most of the salary the rest of the year. Okay?
And instead of giving you a fifth, I'll give you a fourth.
Right.
He would fit perfect with the Browns.
Yes.
Because they run the ball all the time.
I mean, this is where if you're the NFL, I get the whole you don't want teams tanking. But at some point, you got to trust that they're all professionals. And you got to trust the fact that since nobody's got a damn guaranteed contract, that they're not going to tank.
But David, if you're the NFL, and I understand all the points you're making, why would you extend the trade deadline? How would that change the grasp you have on the entire sports world? Do you think it would make it that much greater if you moved the trade deadline a couple of weeks?
I think it would make it, I think you have to take into account the rate of injury in our league is so much different than all the other leagues. And the other league's trade deadline is still so much deeper into their season than ours, that ours is just misplaced.
I think what has to happen for all of these things to come to fruition, David, is simply we have to get people who are in the league to start dismissing the notion that they can't learn another language. Well, you can't go there. It's a whole new language.
Right.
That's what has to happen. When the talking heads that are out there saying it's not that difficult. Yeah, there's some confusion here, but it can be done. You know, there's 3 basic offenses we're running. Most quarterbacks understand it. But that narrative's never been out there to start putting pressure on the GMs to trade more. But the pressure's not put on them because of the whole scenario that, well, it's impossible to learn a new language during the season. Joshua Dobbs is doing a lot to displace that.
I hope so. I really do. I don't know. You would like to think so. It's a copycat league. It's probably the most copycat of all the leagues. Wouldn't you agree?
100%.
Then, plus, if I'm the league, I don't want a team to suffer one injury and then be, oh, well, they're done. No, I don't want that.
Because if you think about it, literally in the last 20 minutes, we've gone from thinking the Browns are a team that can compete in the playoffs, win a game, hell, maybe give someone a run to win a second game, to having no shot because one guy's gone.
And I know it's toughest position to find and fill, and there's not enough good ones. We get all that, but I don't know. Does Joshua Dobbs, does he change more than just the Vikings' fortunes in 2023? Should it get everybody, teams in the league included, thinking, you know, we got to do this differently?
Miller and Moulton. Talk what we know something about next. Mixing food. A story I've got for you on the other side right here on Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd roll out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd, with over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry. They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ryan Tannehill on the Cleveland Browns right now would put them right back in contention to do anything. Run first team, great defense, solid weapons. That's the Titans team that was the 1 seed a couple years ago. And yes, Canada relief. That's a great point. Dobbs was on the Cleveland Browns. They got rid of him.
Dobbs was on the Steelers. I forget what year it was. I think it was the year Jimmy Johnson went in the Hall of Fame. We did the Hall of Fame game on Fox, and Fox never got the Hall of Fame game. And we're doing the Hall of Fame game, and the Steelers had Roethlisberger. Who's the third stringer now, Mark? The Oklahoma State. Is the Oklahoma State kid?
Oh God!
He was dating the tennis player. God, he was dating the tennis player for a long time. Mason Rudolph.
There you go.
So they had Mason Rudolph, and then they had picked up Haskins.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And they had Josh Dobbs, and they gave Dobbs and Haskins both a lot of run in the Hall of Fame game. And Dobbs was clearly superior to Haskins. And at the end of training camp, they kept Haskins as their third stringer and let Dobbs go.
Dobbs has had stints. He's had 2 with the Steelers, 2 with the Browns. He was on the Lions practice squad.
He got picked up by the Titans late last year, and he started their end of the season game against the Jags, where he had a lead late fourth quarter.
He was on the Jags in 2019.
He was on the Browns to start this season.
Yeah, 1-year deal, And then they nope,
traded him to Arizona.
Don't need you. They wanted PJ Walker. So, David, where would you put the deadline if you could? Would you put it after Thanksgiving?
Well, Mark and I would. We'd have it the Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Is when we'd have it. But I'm fine with the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. That's next Tuesday.
Just extend it, yeah. Extend it a couple weeks. I'm with you. I think that's
well,
good.
I mean, it would be 3 weeks. I mean, like this year, the Halloween was the trade deadline. That's Tuesday the 31st. So we're extended it 3 weeks if we do it next week. 4 weeks if we do it after Thanksgiving. But I mean, think about it. We've played 10 games. Some teams have played 9. And they can't make any deals? And they haven't been able to make deals for 2 weeks? It's just too early.
Yeah, I mean, it's rearing its ugly head this season in particular.
There's just too many damn injuries in the sport.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, well, some years you might not need it that late. Well, that's fine, but then at least it's in place for
Well,
years.
also something simple like, if you're the Browns, do you pick up Tyrod Taylor? He's not ready to play this week. He'll be ready to play in a couple of weeks. Do you pick him up as a veteran insurance to PJ Walker just in case? And I know you had Tyrod Taylor 7 years ago, but this regime wasn't there.
Right. With how good their defense is, I feel like if the trade deadline was this week or next week, they would absolutely be going for anything they could get their hands on. All right, 4 seconds till Mark's food story.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, along with a couple of predictions and final thoughts. A little less than 20 minutes away here on the Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton, exclusively for Southwest Florida.
David, do you ever do dessert at a fast food place?
Very rarely. And I almost never do it to go. But I would say a half a dozen times a year, probably, I'll do dessert.
Jamison Williams, Lions receiver, has made headlines
I saw this
in the last 24 hours over what he did with his McDonald's meal.
Brace yourself, David.
Can I hold on a second? Can I just quick sidebar? Does an apple pie count as dessert?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Because I'm thinking normally the ice cream.
But I was referring to ice cream. But yes, an apple pie counts as dessert.
Okay. Well, then maybe 10, 12 times a year. All right. Continue.
But Williams was at McDonald's where he was dining on a McDouble and what appeared to be an Oreo McFlurry.
Okay.
He plopped the ice cream from his McFlurry on his McDouble and ate the two as a combo.
Oh, wow. Wow.
You wonder why this guy's dropping passes.
Yeah, Lions Twitter is having a heyday with this.
Now, I have no problem, and I have done it many times in my life while at a Wendy's, taken my French fries and used the Frosty the way many would use ketchup.
And that is understandable, though. I feel like that's a somewhat normal thing to do. People dip fries in milkshakes, it just is what it is. It goes well together. Putting ice cream on a burger. David, your thoughts?
It's appalling.
It is to me too. I know they won't cut him for this, but they should consider it.
Well, I certainly think you should demote him. I mean,
all right, Donovan Peoples-Jones, you now are the third receiver on this team.
Yeah, you got to run some laps. I mean, something. I mean, that's preposterous. Honestly. I'd bring him into a dark room and I'd be like, we need to ask you a few questions. The first one is simply, why? What is your train of thought when you're doing this? We think we could learn a lot more about you if you could just answer us this question. Why?
Unhinged are some of the comments that have been said about Williams for this.
Here's the other thing, though. It could just totally be for attention, and that's where my generation is really, really irritating. He posted it. I mean, he posted it. It's not
Right,
like it wasn't a TMZ thing or something like that. Like, he took a picture of it and put it on his Instagram story.
But it wasn't just saying, here's what, because people do weird things with food. And I'm all, and again, you want to dip your fries in a milkshake, knock yourself out. I've done it with the Frosty. It's not really the best thing in the world. I don't think they go to, and I will totally take you on. They don't go. Ice cream and French fries do not go together. They've never gone together.
Yeah, but I guess there's a reason. I think you'd agree. There's a reason that people do that. Like, it's a
because
thing
they
people
dip
do.
French fries in anything.
Right.
Well, what does ice cream go with? Whipped cream, caramel,
sweets,
nuts. You know, people throw some nuts on top
Yeah.
of them. But I mean,
but hamburger is not the choice to go with ice cream.
In fact, what does hamburger go with?
Anything else almost?
Cheese, ketchup, pickles, some people mustard,
Lettuce, tomatoes.
tomato, onions.
What doesn't a hamburger go with? Ice cream.
Well, yes.
Ice
I
cream.
was eventually going to get to Mark. There's about 4 things a hamburger doesn't go with, but that really does seem to be one of them. Wow.
I think it's at the top of the list.
I mean, listen, if we found this out before the draft, I don't think Miller or Moulton would have drafted the kid.
If I'm at the McDonald's and I see this, not just an NFL player, if I see anybody doing that that's not 3 years old, I'm making a comment. Like, what are you doing?
It's just the picture he posted too. It's like you can see that he's got a ton of ketchup on there.
What?
So
Golly!
Ketchup with ice cream is horrifying.
Right. Ketchup, onions, and ice cream. And I love ice cream, and that the thought of that sickens me.
I think he's going for shock value. He's trying to gross people out. He wants attention because he's not getting it on the field.
Now, listen, when it comes to food, I am conservative.
Very.
We all have things that, we're liberal about, we're conservative about, we're progressive, hardline, whatever it is you want to call it. I mean, like Mark, I had a friend when I was a teenager. We would go to the White Rose in Jersey, not the White Castle, the White Rose, different kind of burger place. And he would order a Coke Sprite mixed. And that threw me for a loop, mixing Coke and Sprite. So you could see where I'm not the most progressive person when it concerns mixing things. If a Coke Sprite mix was at the age of 17, horrifying.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that will mix a soda.
Yes. I see it all the time. And I ask questions, by the way. You know me. I'm always into R&D. They start mixing them, and I start asking them. I go, "Oh, what you doing here?" Okay. "Ooh, you mix that with that, huh? What else do you mix it with?" And so, "Oh, well, I've done it."
What are you, 6, and are you getting a snow cone? I mean, that's basically what I'm thinking when I see people mixing sodas.
I love it when they're all of a sudden they go to the orange Fanta. It's like, oh, well, this is bold. What are we doing here? Why?
But
this?
I wouldn't mix soda, but then when I was in, the time of my life when I had Slurpees, there was nothing better than a cherry and Coke Slurpee mix.
Well, but they go together.
That's all time. That's an all timer. But there is a such thing as cherry Coke, and that's probably why
they go together.
It's like I got a buddy back home who mixes. He'll do Sprite and then he'll add splashes of like lemonade, so that it's essentially carbonated lemonade. It's somewhat makes sense, It's not completely.
It's kind of like Scotch and 7-Up. It goes together.
And after this segment, it looks like we all might need one.
Well, now, I mean, I'm going to have fast food at least once today. This is going to affect me for the rest of the day.
Does this keep you away from the Golden Arches today? Just the thought of it makes you a little uncomfortable?
No, but it could have me converse with someone. I may actually go inside and talk to him and say, "Hey, did you hear about the story where the guy did ice cream with a burger? What's the craziest thing you guys have seen?" Can't go during, peak lunch hour though. You got to go, at like 3:00. There's nobody there.
Right. Either 11 or 2:33.
Right. And you got to go inside too. Tough to do it. Although my mother, my mother just, man, does she have conversations through the drive-through.
Through the drive-through.
She can pull it off. She starts talking to him into the speaker, and then she continues it around the side. And
It's
every
not
time
the
I'm
same
with her,
person most of the time.
yes, it is the same person. And I, of course, am like, we have people behind us. It's called fast food drive-through, not fast food drive, stop and talk.
I do like the idea, though, if it's a different person, because a lot of times you'll have one person taking the order, a different
Yes.
person on the cash register, and I just am picturing your mom picking up the conversation with the
Totally.
person that on the headsets, because they all have headsets on. So you don't realize that it's a different person, but it actually is.
My mother is that person in which at the local McDonald's, they all come to the window and go, "Hi." Oh, yeah. She's talked to them all. She tips. She tips at a McDonald's. Okay. Oh, they love her.
Enough already with tipping at McDonald's.
They just love her.
When did we start putting tip jars out at fast food restaurants?
I think it's because that we had no money growing up.
She could be doing a lot worse things with that money.
Oh, trust me.
Mixing a McFlurry and a burger together.
Yeah. I mean, she has a grandchild and a great-grandchild. I know all that she's doing with that money. Okay. But yeah.
So a McFlurry and a burger. Didn't mean to set you back today, David, but
with the ketchup. The ketchup. Oh, you got to be kidding me. And cheese. That's about the only thing cheese doesn't go with.
Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Jason and Todd are excited to kick off the holiday season at the Diamond District with their biggest diamond event of the year. This weekend, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, Jason and Todd roll out the red carpet for you. Come view the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. Many jewelers talk about selection, but no one walks the walk like Jason and Todd. With over 6,000 square feet of showroom filled with stunning fine jewelry. They'll be in the store all weekend to work with you personally and make sure you get the lowest prices on all fine jewelry, GIA certified diamonds, diamond engagement rings, bracelets, diamond studs, and more. Takori, America's top bridal designer, will join the Diamond District with her entire collection of over 500 new bridal designs. If you're in love and want diamonds, now is the perfect time to visit the Diamond District. Jason and Todd will also throw in 3 years interest-free financing on what they promise to be the lowest prices on diamonds anywhere.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So let's review here. This week we've done snake pizza, or was that last week?
That was last week.
Snake pizza, alligator eye,
Crocodile
eye.
Yep.
Ice cream sandwich. That's not the ice cream sandwich you're thinking of.
You get a lot of food on this show, Trent.
Hey, I love it. We spent the whole. I mean, we've mentioned turducken today.
So For the record, because I knew my mom was going to comment. Okay. First thing she says is, so what would you guys like to know about my crew?
McDonald's crew?
Yeah. What do you want to know about them? Because she knows their life. Okay. They talk. Yeah.
Are they in college? Like, is anyone in college?
I'm just wanting her to at least admit the fact that she has started a conversation with one worker and continued that conversation with a different worker and didn't know it.
Mom, is that true? I'll bet it is.
I'll bet everything I've got on it, Mom.
That you started with somebody, and when you got to the window, it was somebody else?
At least once. I'm sure that's happened once.
By the way, my mom's reasoning for tipping. Did the food hop into the bag?
They get paid a wage. It is not a restaurant wage. It is more than a restaurant wage. When you tip restaurant employees, they actually don't get paid minimum wage.
I'm with you. I don't tip the fast food workers. I do put my change in whatever charitable thing they've got there, and
McDonald fund.
Well, I will say McDonald's house has done a lot for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's a very charitable company.
I like when Panda Express does the roundup. That makes it easy. That's a very everyone in their
okay. All right. We did this right before you started. Here's my problem. There's an order that I have at the local Wendy's, and it comes to like $11.95. And they say, do you want to round up 4? And I go, well, yeah, but can I throw in an extra $1? And apparently you can't do it. And I got to the window and I said, can I hand you the $1? I go, you must take the nickel out, right? It goes somewhere. I go, can you just put the $1 with the nickel? No. Oh, okay.
Well, maybe it is all electronic. Maybe it does go straight into.
Can the Clippers lose every game for the rest of the year?
Yeah, they suck.
Phenomenal.
They blow.
Well, that's not true. I mean, they did play the Nuggets last night and played them really tough. I mean, it is Denver.
Yeah, but a 5-game sample. I mean, they could always mesh, but none of us thought this would work, and it's not working so far. Early returns. So.
Oh, I actually thought it would work. I don't know about championship work, but I thought they'd be good.
Define work. You think they could be like?
Well, because I mean, they're all perimeter. Paul George, Kawhi, Harden. I mean, they're all perimeter players, slashing from the outside. I mean, Harden can pass it or he can shoot it. I actually think it can work.
Well, I do too, but I guess I just baked in the whole idea that inevitably they're not all 5 going to be healthy at the end of the year.
Well, there's no doubt about that. But here's the thing. You don't care about the 82 games.
True.
And if one of them gets hurt in the playoffs, now you have an extra body to pick up the shots. I actually thought it could work.
I get why they're doing it because they've already mortgaged their entire future for Paul George and Kawhi.
My mom says she's very good with voices. She knows who she's talking to. She's never done it. So there you go.
You know what? I'm not going to doubt that.
Well, you don't want to doubt her, Trent.
I'm not.
Okay? She holds grudges. Okay. Well, Sunday, they don't even take cash anymore on the flights. You can't pay for anything with cash anymore, right? Everything's got to be on a card.
Okay, here we go.
Of course.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. That's 6 to 9. We're just Southwest Florida, 9 to 10. That's it. Thanks to Todd and Jason at Diamond District. We do a bonus hour, and we do it for you. So there. Don't say we've never done it.
Sounds like a threat.
Just trying to make a point. Don't say we've never done anything for you. We do 9 to 10 weekdays.
Thanks to Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1777 we start today. The Articles of the Confederation, the first constitution of the U.S., is approved by the Continental Congress.
That seems like important. The whole Constitution thing.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be. I don't know if we really abide by it anymore, but it used to be.
We act like we do, David. We bring it up when it's necessary.
That's true, Mark. You're right. It is quoted often.
Georgetown, the first Catholic college in the U.S., opened today in 1791. General Sherman leaves Atlanta on his march to the sea today in 1864.
That was that scorched earth march, right?
Pretty much. He left one town where his mistress was.
Oh.
Went around one. I think it's Milledgeville, Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. FDR lays the cornerstone of the Jefferson Memorial today in Washington, D.C. in 1939. K-Ron in San Francisco begins broadcasting on television today in 1949. The call letters are a nod to the owner's other business, the San Francisco Chronicle newspaper.
Huh.
Thought you'd find that interesting, David.
Absolutely.
Today in 1960, Elgin Baylor goes for 71 against the Knicks. They did score a lot of points. Pre-color television in the NBA.
They really did. And no three-point shot.
Right. Today in 69, an estimated 2 million people take part in the Vietnam War demonstration across the U.S.
How many people?
2 million.
That would seem to make the nightly news.
But for you and I, a bigger event happened today in 1969. In Columbus, Ohio, Dave Thomas opens up Wendy's hamburgers.
Oh, my goodness. This is one of the greatest days in American history.
1970, the expansion Bengals defeat the Cleveland Browns, and Paul Brown calls the moment his greatest victory.
Talk about holding a grudge.
You think?
Damn franchise that's named after me. They fired me. Those rad blankety blanks.
Today in 77, President Carter welcomed the Shah of Iran.
And let me tell you, worked
out well.
There are parts of this world that were very unhappy about that. Still to this day.
Right. 86, the Beastie Boys released License to Ill. And for the second time ever, SNL uses a delay. Sam Kinison was hosting.
Oh, it's spectacular. Who was Pryor or Carlin? Who was the first delay?
I think it was Pryor.
Okay. Sam Kinison. Golly.
2005, Carrie Underwood releases her debut album. It was today in 2017 that the 3 UCLA basketball players were suspended after admitting to shoplifting in China, only getting released at President Trump's request.
Right. And we didn't know if we were going to get them back.
Today in 2020, Dustin Johnson finishes with 20 under to win his first Masters. Believe he was quoted as saying, "Boys look forward to November in Augusta."
I'm pretty sure he didn't say that, but any chance you have to do a DJ impression.
Winning this U.S. Open's been very special to me.
Listen, come to think of it, when you do DJ, are you doing Belichick also?
It's a dadgum good point.
If Dustin Johnson said we're on to Cincinnati, could you tell the difference?
No, the only difference was the tournament would be in Cleveland.
Wow. You cannot call him a dumb blankety blank enough, can you?
Huh? And it was a year ago that Taylor Swift sold more than 2 million tickets in a single day for her Eras Tour, the most single-day tickets ever sold on Ticketmaster. Randy Savage would have had a birthday today if he was still with us. Lorena Ochoa is 42 and Carl Anthony Towns is 28. What did I miss, David?
Actually, you know what? There were a few things that happened today. There really were. First stock ticker today in 1867. All right. It revolutionized the stock market, up to the minute prices available to investors around the country. Mark, we never get the movie Wall Street without today in 1867. Okay.
All right. I like it.
So we never get Blue Horseshoe Loves Anacott Steel without the stock ticker. What else do we have today? Well, we've got Elvis movie debut, Love Me Tender in 56.
All right.
Did you ever like those movies? I always found them ridiculous.
I thought Eddie Murphy in his bit summed up the Elvis movies, where he just had him sing every line. Lemonade, that cool, refreshing drink.
And not for me and not for my daughter, because we never bought her one. She never had a video game. But 22 years ago today, Microsoft released the Xbox gaming console. I don't know. I've heard it's done well.
Yes, it has.
Oh.
Are you an Xboxer or a PlayStationer?
I have an Xbox.
You're an Xbox.
And I've had the same Xbox since 2016. I worked a summer job flipping pizzas, and then I saved all that money and put it all towards an Xbox One. I've had the same one since. Love it.
Flipping pizzas?
That's not what I meant. Yeah, I just tossing pizzas.
No offense. I don't want your pizzas.
No.
7-Eleven pizza, David.
If you toss them, okay. Don't
Toss.
flip them.
I was like caught between the flipping burgers cliche.
I got you.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Naples, where Bill Benyon, 19 years ago, heard a radio report about a nonprofit needing turkeys for Thanksgiving. He stopped, went to Publix, bought 25 turkeys. Over the next few years, he'd stop at the store to buy more turkeys, eventually as many as 100. He learned an unfortunate lesson during all this, that the stores apparently get unhappy when you buy all of their turkeys. Now, in the annual turkey drop, which provides turkeys and side items to thousands of families in Southwest Florida this year, more than 3,000 meals will be provided to those in need, largely due to Bill Benyon. So good for you, sir.
Yeah. Way to make a difference. Awesome.
For the bad, we go to Cape Coral, where Patty Cummings was elected as a city councilwoman back in 2022. She was arrested yesterday because a whistleblower prompted an independent investigation into her residency. Apparently, she did not live in District 4 when she ran for the council in District 4. When NBC2 tried to ask her questions, an unknown man answered all questions for her. She is planning on showing up for city council meeting. The only way she can get removed from the city council, unless she resigns, is by Governor DeSantis.
You mean to tell me they don't have it in the city charter that, oh, by the way, if we find out you're not living in the district you represent, you can no longer represent them?
She's out on bond.
No
But according to
offense.
this article, the only way she can be taken out of this is by Governor DeSantis.
Huh. Can't they change the rules? Can't they have a special meeting and say, by the way, upon further review, you need to live in the district you represent? And
She
then
lives there now. She moved after the election. But again, I will keep you updated on this one. I can't imagine for the life of me wanting to be on the city council enough to having to give a false address to run for, again, wait for it, the city council.
Do we know? Because you know how sometimes there's election day and then you don't get sworn in until weeks later? Like, do we know if she, during that time moved into the district? I don't know. I'm with you though. I mean,
Mark, what if you wanted to bring a law or a rule or something in the community that you can't hand out veggies for Halloween?
I would only run in the district that I was in. I would not. The only thing I would falsify for is to get my kid to play on the right football team.
I have to admit, I'm much more in favor of you representing a district you don't live in than giving out veggies on Halloween.
What was that stuff called again? What was the
awful? That's what it was called. It was called awful.
I've tried to forget ever since it's happened.
It was called horrendous. It was called awful. It was called insulting.
Love My Veggies by Happy Tot. And finally, the ugly, we go to Polk County, where a 37-year-old man with a terrific neck tattoo lived up to his name. Timothy Hoag's the man's name from Apopka. He was speeding in his Cadillac. His neck tattoo reads, "All gas, no brakes." He was stealing from cars. He was in a chase with police and crashed while speeding. Again, the neck tattoo reads, "All gas, no brakes." That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, November the 15th, 2023.
Two college football games tonight. We've got action. Come on now. 50 consecutive days and nights of football leading up to the night before Thanksgiving. We've got Central Michigan at Ohio, 7 o'clock ESPNU. The Bobcats at home are an 11-point favorite. That's a lot against a 500 team. And Miami of Ohio, which has a chance to wrap up their division and make the MAC championship game tonight. They are 8.5-point favorites. ESPN2, 7 o'clock against 3-7 Buffalo. Doesn't seem like enough points.
No, but it's a low number. It's only 39.5.
Yeah. I wonder if there's weather involved or something. But all right, let's see what we got in the NBA. Do we have this stupid in-season tournament or no? No. We had one day of it yesterday. We had the in-season tournament yesterday. Today we're back to regular season. This is the dumbest thing. This is like the MLS. We didn't know who was doing what and when and where it counted. And man, Orlando's in Chicago. I will say the Celtics and Sixers are going at it again in Philly, 7:30 ESPN, and Boston's a 4.5-point favorite. Interesting. Sixers beat them last time they played. You're not going to believe this, but Mark, the late game of the doubleheader in the NBA involves LeBron James. Shocking, I know. Sacramento and the Lakers, 10 o'clock.
4 games in the NHL. None of the Florida teams are playing. Edmonton hosts Seattle. Colorado hosting Anaheim. Islanders and Canucks, and Flyers and Hurricanes, the other 2 games.
The Flyers, Hurricanes, Islanders, Canucks, your TNT double dip at 7:30 and 10 o'clock. So let me get this straight. They had a chance to televise Connor McDavid early. And the Avs late, if you will. They would have had to move the start times for both. Who's the Nathan McKinnon with the Avs? So the Connor McDavid early, Nathan McKinnon late. And we're getting Flyers, Hurricanes, Islanders, Canucks.
Yep.
This sport will never, ever know how to promote itself, will it?
Think about it. What the NBA, like last night, who did they put on? Wembanyama. He's the new star of the league. They put him on. Every time they have an opportunity to put this guy on television, they put him on television.
Right.
And you joke, but they put LeBron on. You know why? Because people watch LeBron James.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
And Connor McDavid, they just...
And Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. No, we're not interested in you watching. There's nothing to see here. We'll give you the Flyers and Carolina. Don't get me wrong. It'll be good, solid hockey.
Maybe. The Flyers aren't very good. I mean, it's a huge odds advantage for Carolina in that game. Vegas doesn't think it's going to be a very good game. But that's what TNT thinks. Hey, we'll do this all over again tomorrow. Bright and early, 6 a.m. Thanks for listening. Right here, Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am,